Lu Ming challenges, damn it, this is too abnormal. This is too heaven-defying. The unscrupulous monk was already spouting nonsense. He is indeed Lu Ming's son. He is so young and more powerful than Lu Ming. Long Chun sighed. If that was the case, Lu Shenhuang's ability to fight above his level was even stronger than Lu Ming's in the past. When Lu Ming broke through to the martial emperor realm back then, he became a 4-star illusionary emperor in one fell swoop. Then he fought against the Black Tortoise Forest, and finally defeated the Black Tortoise Forest by merging 9 types of laws. However, the Xuanwu Forest at that time was not as strong as it was now. At that time, the Xuanwu Forest's battle strength was only at the 3rd stage true emperor realm. Clearly, Lu Shenhuang's combat power was stronger than Lu Ming's back then. Of course, Lu Ming's mastery of various laws had deepened. He had also cultivated an immemorial body cultivator, and his physical strength had increased tremendously. His ability to fight above his level was much stronger than it had been in the past. Alright, Lu Ming was overjoyed to see how powerful Lu Shenhuang was. Damn it, how did this happen? Some were happy, some were worried. Heng Xinghe, Yuan Xian Lan Cheng, and the others were all roaring in their hearts. They couldn't believe it. Lu Ming was already abnormal enough, but his son was even more abnormal. Why did this happen? They roared in their hearts and went crazy with jealousy. Bang, bang, bang. Lu Shenhuang and Xuan Wulin were engaged in an intense battle, and the rumbles continued. However, the more he fought, the stronger Shenhuang Lu's combat strength became. His entire body emitted a layer of black light, and became one with his combat sword. The sword light was extremely sharp as it continuously destroyed the stars from the Xuanwu forest. In the end, the speed at which the sword light destroyed the stars was even faster. Before the Xuanwu forest could condense the stars, Lu Shenhuang had already rushed in front of the Xuanwu forest, and slashed out with his sword. With a shrill cry, Black Tortoise Lin coughed up blood and retreated out of the fighting ring. A deep wound was left on his body, and blood was flowing. Xuanwu Forest defeated. He was defeated by Lu Shenhuang in a head-on battle. From then on, the position of the Ninju would be replaced by Lu Shenhuang. Xuan Wulin's expression was extremely ugly. This was a huge blow to him. Lan Cheng's face was also very ugly. He said coldly, "Shenhuang Lu, do you still want to continue the challenge? I won't fight." Lu Shenhuang shook his head and rushed down the stage. He landed on a seat and closed his eyes to regulate his breathing. Is there anyone else who wants to challenge me? If not, then the first place today will go to Yuanyi. Lan Cheng stood up and announced, his voice reverberating throughout the entire area. I'll do it. Lan Cheng's voice had just fallen when he was interrupted. At this moment, Lu Ming stood up, took a step forward, and landed on the fighting ring. Many people's gazes fell on Lu Ming, but they were slightly stunned when they saw his appearance. They had not seen Lu Ming's appearance before. Another prodigy that had not appeared before? Some of the heavenly emperors were surprised. With their cultivation base at the heavenly emperor realm, they could sense that Lu Ming had disguised himself. However, they could not see through Lu Ming's original appearance. What a brilliant disguising technique. A heavenly emperor spoke in a low voice. You want to challenge? Who do you want to challenge? Lan Cheng asked. Of course, I'm going to challenge the first place. Yuanyi, come down and fight. Lu Ming looked at Yuanyi. What? Many people were shocked. Someone actually wanted to challenge Yuanyi. Yuanyi's battle strength was obvious to all. He had reached rank 15 true emperor. There was no doubt that no one in the younger generation could match him. But now someone wanted to challenge Yuanyi. He must be crazy. Many people had thought that Lu Ming would be like Lu Shenhuang, challenging a few experts to train himself or to gain fame. However, Lu Ming wanted to challenge Yuanyi, which was beyond everyone's expectations. This kid is definitely trying to attract attention by playing to the gallery. He wants to challenge Yuanyi to increase his reputation. Even if he loses, he'll still gain fame. That's right, that's definitely the case. Some people were discussing. Yuanyi's eyes narrowed as he rushed up the fighting ring. Brat, swords and sabers have no eyes. You challenged me. If I fail and cripple or kill you, then you'll only have yourself to blame. Yuanyi said coldly. He was not in a good mood. He had already defeated Lin Xiaofeng and taken first place. Everything had been perfect. But now, someone had actually challenged him. This caused all of this to seem flawed and imperfect. Therefore, he had the intention to kill. Later on, he would kill Lu Ming in one move as a warning to everyone, and let them know the consequences of challenging him. Little guy, what's your name? Lanqing asked. Nameless fellow, let's not mention him. Lu Ming smiled faintly. A nameless person dares to challenge Brother Xuanyuan. He really doesn't know his own place. In my opinion, this person is just trying to please the crowd. Brother Xuanyuan, you don't need to accept the challenge. Just ask someone to throw him out. A voice rang out. It was the Black Tortoise Forest. Xuanwu Forest had just been defeated by Lu Shenhuang in public, and was probably going to be removed from the list of the 9 absolutes. He was in a bad mood and would bite whoever he saw. At this moment, Lu Ming rushed out. He was extremely unhappy with Lu Ming and directly mocked him. You're not even as good as a 15 or 16-year-old boy, and you still have the face to make a fuss here. If I were you, I'd just destroy my own cultivation. Lu Ming looked at the Black Tortoise Forest and mocked. You brat, Brother Xuanyuan doesn't need to do anything today. Let me teach you a lesson. Xian Wulin was furious. He rushed up to the stage and cupped his fists at Xuanyuan. Brother Xuanyuan, you don't have to deal with a nameless person personally. I'll teach him a lesson on your behalf. All right. Xuanyuan nodded and retreated to the edge of the fighting ring. In his opinion, it would be best if the Black Tortoise Forest team could take action, so that he would not have to do anything. You're going to make a move? Lu Ming looked at the Black Tortoise Forest and said, That's right. I'd like to see what kind of ability you have to dare challenge Brother Xuanyuan. Black Tortoise Forest said coldly. You can't. You're too weak. I don't want to torture you. Unexpectedly, Lu Ming shook his head with a look of disdain. Xuan Wulin's lungs were about to explode from anger. Who was he? He was one of the 9 absolutes. But today he was first defeated by Lu Shenhuang. Now even a nameless person looked down on him. He was furious and filled with killing intent. Brat, who doesn't know how to talk big? Show me your ability. The Black Tortoise Forest roared. Hundreds of stars appeared all over his body. The hundreds of stars gathered together and blasted towards Lu Ming. The power was extraordinary. As soon as he made his move, the Black Tortoise Forest used his killer move to blast Lu Ming into ashes. Boom. The huge star was like a falling meteorite, dragging a long tail with terrifying power. But at this moment Lu Ming moved. There were no energy fluctuations on his body, nor were there any fluctuations of laws. It was just a simple punch. This punch relied on pure physical strength. Chapter 2321 Battling Xuanyuan. Boom. Lu Ming's fist landed on the huge star. The huge star was like a bubble, unable to withstand a single blow. It exploded with a single punch. After shattering the star, Lu Ming's fist momentum did not stop, and continued to blast toward the black martial arts world. Wherever the fist force passed, the space would explode and shatter, forming a terrifying spatial storm that swept toward the Black Tortoise Forest. The Black Tortoise Forest was completely enveloped by Lu Ming's fist aura. It was as if the space in the surroundings had frozen, making it difficult for him to move. How is that possible? The Black Tortoise Forest had this thought. Then Lu Ming's fist landed heavily on his face. Bang! Xuan Wulin was sent flying out of the battle stage and landed heavily on the ground. He sprawled on the ground and spat out a large mouthful of blood. His face was completely deformed and swollen to the point where he could not be recognized. Everyone was stunned and they looked at Lu Ming in a daze. One punch. With just one punch, he had defeated the Xuanwu Forest team. They were not on the same level at all. They were completely crushed. One must know that the Black Tortoise Forest's combat strength was also at the 6th stage True Emperor realm. However, it was still suppressed. Who was this person? They had never seen him before. How could he have such strong combat strength? The power of the physical body. He's an immemorial body cultivator. Suddenly, someone exclaimed. Everyone's heart skipped a beat as they reacted. Just now, there were no fluctuations of laws on Lu Ming's body. He had relied purely on his physical strength. Only immemorial body cultivators could cultivate their physical strength to such a level. Bao's eyes lit up. He was also an archaic body cultivator, so he was naturally curious and excited to suddenly see another archaic body cultivator with such shocking battle prowess. I said, "You're too weak. I don't want to torture you, but you're looking for it." Lu Ming spoke indifferently and cast a disdainful glance at the black tortoise forest. The black tortoise forest spat out a few more mouthfuls of blood from his anger. Today he was really too miserable. He had been defeated by two people in succession. One was a 15 or 16-year-old youth, and the other had dealt with him easily with a single punch. Today he was destined to become a laughingstock and be ridiculed by others. Is there anyone else who would like to stand up for Yuanyi? Lu Ming's gaze swept across the young talents present. No one spoke. Lu Ming was able to defeat Xian Wulin with a single punch. His combat strength was unfathomable. If others were not confident, who would stand up for Yuanyi? Since you don't have one, Yuanyi, let's fight. Lu Ming looked at Yuanyi. You have some ability, but if you want to fight with me, you're still far from it. Yuanyi stepped forward and sneered. In his opinion, it was not a big deal to defeat the Black Tortoise Forest with a single punch. The Black Tortoise Forest cultivators only had the combat strength of a Stage 6 True Emperor. As long as they had the combat strength of a Stage 8 True Emperor or above, they would be able to defeat him in one move. He, on the other hand, had the combat power of a rank 15 True Emperor, which was much higher than that of the Xuanwu Forest. Therefore, even though Lu Ming had defeated the Black Tortoise Forest in one move, he did not take Lu Ming seriously. "You talk too much, make your move," Lu Ming said. "I've said it before. Swords and sabers have no eyes. If you accidentally go too far, you'll only have yourself to blame," Yuanyi said coldly, a halberd appearing in his hand. Thump. Yuanyi took a step forward and swung his halberd at Lu Ming. In the process of slashing down, the heavenly halberd enlarged rapidly. It expanded to 1,000 meters in length and slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming took a step forward and the fighting ring rumbled. He dashed forward and threw a punch. Lu Ming circulated his physical strength to the maximum for this punch. Boom. Lu Ming's fist and the heavenly halberd collided heavily. With a terrifying boom, Lu Ming's body was sent flying backward. He only stopped after he had retreated a few hundred meters. This person actually blocked Yuanyi's move. Many people were shocked. Although Lu Ming was at a disadvantage and was pushed back, everyone was still shocked. Who is this person? He has at least the battle strength of a level 13 True Emperor. There is actually such a heaven's favorite among the younger generation in the Heaven Realm? A rank 13 True Emperor was also impressive. Among the 9 absolutes, only Lin Xiaofeng and Yuanyi had reached a level 13 True Emperor. The one ranked third only had a level 10 True Emperor's combat strength. This was almost the peak combat power of the Heaven Realm's younger generation. An immemorial body cultivator actually had such a heaven's favorite. Yuanyi's eyes narrowed, and a sharp glint flashed in them. He was also very surprised that he did not defeat Lu Ming in one move. "Let's see how many moves you can take. Kill. Die." Yuanyi bellowed. Wielding his halberd, he charged at Lu Ming. "My physical body alone is still a little lacking," Lu Ming muttered. Now that he had cultivated the 7 gods' mysterious technique to the middle stage of the 4th level, his physical strength alone was equivalent to a level 13 True Emperor. He was still no match for Yuanyi. Boom. Lu Ming threw another punch. However, this time, Lu Ming used the indestructible golden body from the indestructible ancient scroll. The inextinguishable golden body could turn one's body into a divine weapon. Not only did it possess a terrifying defensive power, but it also possessed a powerful offensive power. The combination of the imperishable golden body and the powerful physical body of the immemorial body cultivator complemented each other. And the power that erupted was extremely shocking. Law, it's the power of law. He cultivates the law system. That's not right. His physical body is too shocking. He's clearly an immemorial body cultivator. He's cultivating both his physical body and nomological laws. Someone exclaimed in disbelief. Cultivating one of them would take a lifetime of effort for many people. However, Lu Ming had cultivated two, and seemed to have achieved amazing results in both. Boom. Lu Ming and Yuanyi clashed for the second time. There was another violent boom. This time, Lu Ming and Yuanyi's bodies trembled violently and they retreated. Hiss hiss hiss, gasps could be heard and many people could not help but widen their eyes. They were evenly matched. Lu Ming and Yuanyi were actually evenly matched in this move. There was actually someone in the world who could fight against Yuanyi. They could feel that Yuanyi had just unleashed the combat power of a rank 15 true emperor. Even Lin Xiaofeng would find it hard to fight against such a combat power. However, Lu Ming was able to contend with him, and they were even. This meant that Lu Ming's combat strength was also at the 15th level of true emperor. To think that there was actually a heaven's favorite in this world who had reached such a realm. It was simply shocking. Damn it! Lanqing roared in his heart, and became a little worried. He was worried that if Yuanyi lost, his plan would be ruined. And wouldn't he have to give away the 100 chaos gems? I must win. Lanqing gritted his teeth and muttered. Yuanyi's eyes were filled with shock. He didn't expect that there would be another young man in the world who could reach this level. I'm invincible. This person must die. Yuanyi roared in his heart, and his eyes were filled with cold killing intent. There was actually a heaven's favorite who could fight with him in this world. He definitely couldn't leave him behind. He wouldn't allow such a person to appear. Kill. Yuanyi charged at Lu Ming with his heavenly halberd. Chapter 2321. First Yuanyi strode across the air, his halberd seemingly capable of splitting the sky as it slashed towards Lu Ming. Wherever it passed, the air was split in half, revealing a terrifying black crack. This kind of attack power was invincible among the younger generation. No one could stop it. Even Lin Xiaofeng would be defeated by this move. However, Lu Ming's expression was calm. To be honest, he did not take such an attack to heart at all. Boom. The muscles and bones in Lu Ming's body trembled violently at a rate of hundreds of millions of times per second. The vibration of his muscles caused intense friction with the air and space. Lu Ming's body dashed out and he threw a punch. The fist once again collided with the halberd. With a violent boom, the halberd exploded. Lu Ming's body swayed slightly, but he threw another punch. The punch pierced through space, bringing with it a spatial storm that swept toward Yuanyi. Lu Ming did not use the power of the world or other divine powers. He only relied on the strength of his physical body and the imperishable golden body. Yuanyi's expression changed drastically. His body glowed, and a heavenly halberd materialized in his other hand. He swung the halberd and blocked Lu Ming's fist force, but he was forced to retreat. Yuanyi was at a disadvantage, and his attacks were suppressed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's muscles and bones trembled. He did not even need to take a step as he charged toward Yuanyi. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming kept swinging his fists. The terrifying power smashed the space into pieces. Moreover, Lu Ming did not care about defense at all. He only focused on attacking. Yuanyi roared. He wielded a heavenly halberd in each hand and slashed wildly, engaging in an intense battle with Lu Ming. After a few moves, Yuanyi's halberd struck Lu Ming's shoulder. However, Lu Ming's muscles and bones trembled rapidly, and most of the force was reflected back. At the same time, the imperishable golden bodice defense also blocked most of the force. The halberd attack could only leave a faint white mark on Lu Ming's skin. It could not even break through Lu Ming's defense. At the same time, Lu Ming's fist landed on Yuanyi. Yuanyi's body trembled violently, and the sound of bones breaking came from his body. He retreated rapidly and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Many people gasped in shock. Lu Ming's defense was too shocking. Yuanyi was no match for him. The two of them had similar combat strength. Each of them had managed to land a blow on the other, but Lu Ming was completely fine. On the other hand, Yuanyi was severely injured. Number one in the world? With this kind of battle power? Lu Ming said coldly. In the next moment, he charged toward Yuanyi and launched a new round of fierce attacks. Damn it! Outside the fighting ring, Lanqing was roaring in his heart. His eyes were filled with anger and coldness. Yuanyi could not be defeated. If he was defeated, his plan would be ruined. Moreover, he would have to give 100 yuan to Lu Ming. He would not allow that. A cold glint flashed in his eyes. He took a step forward and a surge of energy rushed toward Lu Ming along the ground. On the side, the heavenly emperors of the other major forces sensed this, and their gazes flickered slightly, but no one said anything. Just as the force was about to hit Lu Ming, Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu snorted coldly and took a step forward. A force gushed out from the ground and intercepted Lan Cheng's force. Boom! The two forces collided, and the ground suddenly exploded, creating a huge pit. The force was wanton. What's going on? Many people were shocked. Lan Cheng, as the Celestial Arch, you actually secretly attacked a junior. You're really shameless. Or are you unwilling to give up the 100 stones of chaos because Yuanyi is about to lose? Since you can't bear to, don't say it in advance. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu said coldly. Many people turned to look at Land City. When they saw the gloomy expression on Land City's face, they came to a sudden realization. It seemed that Lan Cheng had secretly made a move when he saw that Yuanyi was about to be defeated, but he had been intercepted by Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu. Detestable. Lan Cheng roared in his heart, but he couldn't do anything. He could only keep his face dark and not say anything. At this moment, the battle on the fighting ring was completely one-sided. Lu Ming launched a storm of attacks. He completely ignored defense and only attacked. Yuanyi was no match for him. Even if he used all his strength to block, he wouldn't be able to take more than a few moves. Bang! Lu Ming's punch landed on Yuanyi's chest, almost piercing it. Yuanyi spat out a mouthful of blood and retreated. Lu Ming chased after him, and threw another punch. Yuanyi's body was sent flying like a cannonball. Half of his body had exploded, and he flew out of the fighting ring towards the crowd. Lan Cheng's face was gloomy. With a wave of his hand, a force wrapped around Lan Cheng and caught him. At the same time, it helped Lan Cheng to heal his injuries. He was defeated. Yuanyi had been defeated. Lu Ming had defeated Yuanyi with an absolute advantage. Everyone's heart was filled with complicated feelings. They knew that an even more terrifying heaven's favorite had been born. The poor Yuanyi had just defeated Lin Xiaofeng and ascended to the throne of the first of the 9 absolutes. He had not even warmed up his seat before he was kicked off the throne. Is there anyone else who wants to challenge me? Lu Ming did not look at Yuanyi again. He turned to look in another direction. No one responded. Lu Ming's combat strength was so terrifying that even Yuanyi could not withstand a single blow. Who else could be his match? Since no one is willing to accept the challenge, then he'll be the first place this time. Lu Ming turned to look at Lan Cheng and said, Master Lan, since I've won first place, the 100 chaos gems are mine, right? Lan Cheng's heart ached. 100 chaos gems was not a small amount. Even for the large Lan family, it was not easy to take out 100 chaos gems. Had thought that Yuanyi would definitely win first place. Giving the 100 chaos gems to his son-in-law in Land City would help him improve his cultivation. However, he couldn't bear to give away 100 chaos gems to someone else. Kid, who are you? I know you used a disguising technique to hide your face. You didn't even tell me your name, and you still want to get 100 chaos gems. What a joke. Lan Cheng sneered. He started to find excuses. Ha ha ha, Lan Cheng, you're going back on your word. That's not what you said before. You released the news that whoever ranked first among the younger generation would receive 100 chaos gems. Now you're finding so many excuses. I know that you must have thought that Yuanyi would definitely get first place, so you took out the 100 stones of chaos for him. However, you used the 100 stones of chaos as a gimmick to attract others and set off Yuanyi. You're toying with everyone in the world like monkeys. Lu Ming sneered. Nonsense. How dare you slander me? How dare you? Show your true form. I want to confirm your identity. Otherwise, don't even think about getting the 100 stones of chaos. Lan Cheng said. Alright, since you want to see, then go ahead. Lu Ming said. With that, his appearance changed rapidly and he returned to his original appearance. His aura also recovered. Lu Ming. After seeing Lu Ming's original appearance, Lan Cheng roared. Chapter 2323 Father and son reuniting in Land City. After seeing Lu Ming's appearance, he could not help but widen his eyes and shout. The others were also dumbfounded. How is that possible? Lu Ming, isn't he dead? Lan Yun, Hung Xinghe, Yuan Xian, and the others also roared in disbelief. On the other hand, Huang Ling, Long Chun, Bubbles, and the others were overjoyed. One was wondering who had such powerful combat strength. It's Lu Ming. It's too shocking. How many years has it been since Lu Ming became a martial emperor? He's actually able to suppress Yuanyi and is invincible in his generation. It's simply unbelievable. He only used his physical strength just now. He didn't use the power of laws. Indeed, the surroundings were in a clamor, and the sounds of discussion converged. The main thing was that Lu Ming's reputation was too great. Back then, he had become a great emperor with many laws. This was unprecedented. As soon as he became a great emperor, he defeated one of the 9 absolutes, the Black Tortoise Forest, and shook the entire heaven realm. A few years later, he defeated and captured a prince of the alien race outside Two World City. That battle pushed Lu Ming's reputation to the peak. However, it was nothing compared to today's battle. In today's battle, Lu Ming had defeated Yuanyi and ascended to the throne of number 1 among the younger generation of the Tianyuan world and the Yuan world. It seemed that every time Lu Ming appeared, his combat strength would increase by leaps and bounds at a shocking speed. Father. At this moment, Lu Shenhuang stood up and stared at Lu Ming without blinking. His face was filled with surprise, anticipation, curiosity, and other emotions. Lu Ming also heard Lu Shenhuang's voice. He turned to look at Lu Shenhuang and their eyes met. Lu Ming nodded slightly and smiled. Lu Shenhuang took in a deep breath and suppressed his excitement. He stepped forward onto the fighting ring and faced Lu Ming. His mother's comments about his father rang in his mind. Unparalleled in the world. Seeing it today, it was indeed so. Father, Lu Shenhuang spoke again. Your mother is Xian Yanqing? Lu Ming could not help but ask. Even though he already knew that Lu Shenhuang's mother was definitely Xian Yanqing, he still could not help but ask to confirm. Yes, I am. Lu Shenhuang nodded his head firmly. A smile appeared on Lu Ming's face. Looking at Lu Shenhuang, who looked 70 to 80% similar to him, he had an inexplicable feeling in his heart. She didn't expect to have a son after a short separation with Xian Yanqing. Divine wilderness, retreat to the side. After I settle the matter here, I will go with you to find your mother, Lu Ming said. Okay. Lu Shenhuang nodded and retreated to his seat. Lu Ming turned around and faced Lan Cheng. At this moment, Lan Cheng's face revealed a ferocious expression, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Lu Ming, you still dare to appear here? Good, very good. Lan Cheng said coldly. Why can't I be here? Lu Ming asked with a cold smile. A few years ago, on the battlefield outside the Two World City, you killed the beings of the heaven realm and seized their treasures and resources. This is a serious crime, and you have to pay with your life. Lan Cheng coldly said. Ha 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 ha, what a good thief crying thief caught thief. In that case, I'll explain everything today. Lu Ming laughed heartily. Then he recounted how the Lan family and the Yen family had besieged him and how Bai Tai and the rest had arrived. But the Lan family and the Yen family had killed them to keep their mouths shut. There's actually such a thing. Many people's gazes flickered, and they revealed thoughtful expressions. Back then, the Lan family had announced to the public that Lu Ming had killed people and robbed them of their treasures. The Lan family and the Yen family had come across them and attacked Lu Ming according to the rules of Two World City. Could it be that there was such a secret? Simply a bunch of nonsense. Lan Cheng berated. Nonsense? I suspect that the people of the Lan family were ordered by you, Lan Cheng, to seize my indestructible ancient scroll. In the end, when they were discovered, you killed them and framed me. Such an act is not worthy of being called a big family in the heaven realm. In my opinion, the one who should be punished is you, the Lan family. Lu Ming shouted. Impudent. How dare you slander me? Today, no matter how glib your tongue is, you'll be punished. Men, take Lu Ming down, cripple his cultivation, and put him in jail. Lan Cheng shouted. Bang. Bang. Immediately, Two experts from the Lan family stepped out. They exuded a powerful aura and rushed towards Lu Ming. These were two great emperors, and they were extremely powerful. Let's see who dares to. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu shouted coldly as a terrifying aura erupted from his body. With a wave of his hand, a huge hand formed and pressed down on the two Lan clan heavenly emperors. Hung Yu, I'm afraid that it's not up to you to protect Lu Ming. Lancheng roared and rushed out. His heavenly emperor realm cultivation base also burst out. He pressed his big hand and a heavenly lion roared and pounced toward the Hung Yu heavenly emperor's big hand. Boom. A deafening explosion was heard, and Lancheng's expression changed drastically. His body was sent flying, and he looked at the eternal universe heavenly emperor in shock. He was no match for heavenly emperor Hung Yu, and he was forced to retreat with a single strike. At the same time, the two great emperors of the Lan clan were also sent flying by the residual force of the Hung Yu heavenly emperor's attack. Hung Yu, do you think you can break the rules of the heaven realm by yourself? Did he want to fight against everyone? Lu Ming has committed a crime and must be punished. Lancheng roared. The ones who are guilty are the Lan family. The ones who are going against the heaven realm are the Lan family. Lu Ming shouted. What a load of nonsense. Lancheng said. Hee, if what I said is a bunch of nonsense, then what you said isn't at all bullshit. Lu Ming berated coldly. How audacious. Lancheng bellowed. Lu Ming was a junior, yet he dared to go against him and talk back to him at every turn. How presumptuous. He was so furious that he wished he could kill Lu Ming with a slap. Fellow Taoists, give me a hand. Lancheng's gaze turned to the Yin family's heavenly emperor, the Luo family's heavenly emperor, and the vast expanse shrine master. These forces were all on good terms with the Lan family, and even had marriage relations with the Lan family. Lu Ming killed his fellow Taoists in the heaven realm and seized their treasures. In my opinion, he could rise so quickly because of this method. He is guilty of a great crime and should be punished. The Yen clan's heavenly emperor stepped out and stood side by side with Lancheng. Their powerful auras burst forth as they fought against the eternal universe heavenly emperor together. That's right. We must capture Lu Ming today, cripple his cultivation, and interrogate him strictly. The heavenly emperor of the Luo clan also stepped out. Then, two more people stepped out. They were both at the heavenly emperor realm. One of them was the lord of the vast expanse palace, and the other was the master of the Xingxing River. They were both terrifying heavenly emperor powerhouses. The 5 heavenly emperor powerhouses stood together, and their aura was shocking. And you, I've said it before. You can't stop us alone today. We must take Lu Ming down. Lancheng sneered and glared at Lu Ming. He stretched out his hand and the terrifying power condensed into a huge hand that grabbed at Lu Ming. You dare? Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu roared. Chapter 2324 Everyone shocked Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu let out a long howl as heavenly Tao might burst forth, causing the entire world to tremble. It was terrifying to the extreme. Boom. The Hung Yu Heavenly Emperor made his move. A combat sword appeared in his hand, and he slashed at Lancheng. Hung Yu will fight you. The master of the Eternal Star River was a gray-robed elder. He made his move and struck out a palm toward the Hung Yu Heavenly Emperor. The two of them exchanged a blow and were evenly matched. The master of the Eternal Star River was also an extremely terrifying existence. He was an expert even among the Heavenly Emperors, and was not weaker than the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor. At this moment, the huge hand from Land City was already approaching Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming stood calmly on the fighting ring. His expression did not change, as if he had not seen Lancheng's attack. At this moment, an old man suddenly appeared beside Lu Ming. The old man's face was calm as he threw out a punch. This punch did not have the slightest surge of energy, nor did it contain any power of laws. It was just pure strength. However, when this punch was thrown out, Lancheng's big hand directly exploded. The terrifying fist force continued to blast toward Lancheng. Lancheng's expression changed, and he hurriedly used a divine art. A heavenly lion pounced out. There was a loud boom and Lancheng's body trembled. He could not help but retreat. He looked at the old man beside Lu Ming in shock. Immemorial body cultivator. You're an immemorial body cultivator. A body cultivator of the heavenly emperor realm. Who are you? Lan Cheng roared in shock. He did not expect that Lu Ming would have a heavenly emperor with him. Moreover, it was a body cultivator that he had never seen before. A heavenly emperor realm body cultivator. In the crowd, Bao's eyes emitted an excited light. At the scene, the others were also shocked. There was a heavenly emperor-level body cultivator by Lu Ming's side, helping him at the critical moment. Ancient body cultivators were almost lost to the present day. There were very few people who cultivated it, and even fewer who could successfully cultivate it. Today, in the heaven realm, there was only one known physical cultivator who could reach the heavenly emperor realm, but it was definitely not the person in front of him. Could it be that this body cultivator hasn't come out and has been living in seclusion? Someone guessed. Fellow Taoist, are you going to make an enemy out of me and the Lan family just because of a junior? Lan Cheng stared at the old man and spoke coldly. His words revealed a hint of threat. Whoever dares to touch him, I'll kill him with one punch. The old man pointed at Lu Ming and said indifferently. It was very simple and clear, but it made people stunned. He would kill anyone who dared to touch Lu Ming with one punch. This caused many people to gasp. This was something that a heavenly emperor had said, so no one would doubt it. Lan Cheng's face also darkened. He said, I'm afraid that you alone won't be enough. The Yen Luo and Vast Expanse Palace lords also unleashed their terrifying auras toward the elder. However, in the next moment, 3 more elders appeared beside Lu Ming. They were dressed in the same way as the previous elder. Their faces were calm, but a terrifying aura burst out, crushing the auras of the Yen family's celestial Varch and the others. In the city of Lan, the celestial Varch of the Yen family and the others narrowed their eyes in disbelief. Heavenly Emperor. All of them were Heavenly Emperor realm powerhouses, and they were all body cultivators. How was this possible? At the scene, the others were also shocked and dumbfounded. Lu Ming had so many Heavenly Emperor powerhouses by his side. This force was too terrifying. The Lan family could not do anything to Lu Ming. Damn it, how is this possible? Where did these experts come from? Lan Cheng roared in his heart. As a Heavenly Emperor, he had seen or heard of all the Heavenly Emperors in the Taiqing Heavenly region. However, he had never heard of these elders. So many Heavenly Emperor realm body cultivators. Where did they come from? Could it be one of those old monsters hiding in the dark? Lan Cheng couldn't help but think. There were naturally some hidden old monsters in the Taiqing Heavenly region, or the primordial realm. Their cultivation strength was terrifyingly strong, and they usually cultivated in seclusion. Only when the alien races launched a truly terrifying war would these strong cultivators come out. At this moment, many thoughts flashed through Lan Cheng's mind. Blue City, hand over all the people who tried to kill me on the battlefield, as well as the people who killed Senior Bai Tai and the others. Also, hand over all the people from the Yen clan. I want to see them all. Lu Ming took a step forward and glared at Lan Cheng. His voice spread throughout the entire area. Lu Ming would not let off any of those who had attacked him. All of them had to die. Preposterous. Those people were clearly killed by you. And now you actually want me to call for help. Lan Cheng roared. At this moment, he still insisted that Lu Ming killed him and snatched his treasure. Lu Ming, although I don't know where you found your helpers, the Lan family is not afraid of you. Lan Cheng continued to speak loudly, and a shocking aura burst out from his body. The Yen Luo and Vast Expanse Palace Heavenly Emperors also raised their auras to the maximum. The heavens and earth were filled with the terrifying pressure of the heavenly Tao. Bang! 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 A few body cultivators took a small step forward. This small step caused the entire ground to shake, and the fighting stage under their feet turned into dust. Lan Cheng's group's expressions changed slightly, and they couldn't help but take a few steps back. In the clash of auras, they were at a disadvantage, and this made their expressions extremely ugly. Everyone, are you going to just watch as Lu Ming acts arrogantly? This guy killed people and stole their treasures. His character is extremely vile, but he's very talented. We can't let him continue to grow. Lan Cheng looked at the others. Today, there were not only Heavenly Emperors from the Yen family and the Luo family. There were also a few other heavenly emperors, but they didn't have a good relationship with the Lan family, so they didn't attack. At this moment, the eyes of these people flickered. They were considering whether to help the Lan family or not. The talent that Lu Ming had displayed was too shocking. If this continued, he would become a peak expert sooner or later. Moreover, he had the help of many powerful experts by his side. They had offended Lu Ming. If Lu Ming did not die, they would be the ones in trouble in the future. Therefore, these people were hesitant. Hee, I'm definitely going to get those people today. Lu Ming said coldly, and then sent a message. Boom, boom, boom. Just as Lu Ming sent out the news, a violent roar came from the depths of the sky. Then the sky split open, and a huge palace appeared in the depths of the sky. Above it, there was a gray fog. This is Primal Chaos Palace. Many people's pupils contracted in shock. The Primal Chaos Palace of the Primal Chaos Emperor was extremely famous in the Heaven Realm. Although the Primal Chaos the Arch had died long ago, he had left behind some powerful puppets. More than 10 years ago, they had fought in another battlefield and displayed terrifying strength. Why had the Primal Chaos Hall suddenly appeared here? Everyone was puzzled. At this moment, 9 beams of light flew out from the Primal Chaos Palace. They were 9 figures, each of them exuding an astonishing aura. The Celestial Emperor. The aura of the Heavenly Emperor. The 9 figures were all Heavenly Emperors. Am not here to reason in the blink of an eye. 9 figures emerged from the Primal Chaos Palace and stood in the sky above the square. At the scene, everyone held their breath. This was because these 9 figures were all at the Heavenly Emperor realm. 9 Heavenly Emperors had come all at once. What a terrifying force this was. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. These 9 people were Earth One, Gold One, and the others. They had been in the vicinity for a long time. They only appeared when Lu Ming sent them a voice transmission. So it's the Dao brothers of the Primal Chaos Palace. The daughter of my Lan family is getting married today. I didn't expect that all of you would be here. It's an honor. Lan Cheng had a bright smile on his face as he greeted Earth One and the rest. However, Earth One and the rest ignored Lan Cheng and flew directly to Lu Ming. They then bowed to Lu Ming. This subordinate greets the young master. What? Everyone was stunned. Most of the people had a dazed look on their faces. Their eyes were wide open, and their mouths were agape. At this moment, they seemed to have become idiots. What did the 9 heavenly emperors of the Chaos Hall call Lu Ming? Young master? The 9 heavenly emperors of the Chaos Hall were Lu Ming's subordinates? At this moment, many people felt that their brains had turned into mush, and it was difficult for them to think. They even thought that they were dreaming. Lan Cheng's expression also froze. His eyes were wide open with disbelief, followed by a trace of fear. Even the Hung Yu Heavenly Emperor and the other elders were a little surprised. They did not expect that Lu Ming had so many terrifying powerhouses behind him. Lu Ming is Lu Ming indeed. Long Chun desolately, and the others sighed. Nest, I want to hang out with Lu Ming. I'll follow him no matter what in the future. Am not a dog. The unscrupulous monk chanted the name of Buddha madly. Is this my father? Lu Shenhuang mumbled as he looked at the figure standing among the many heavenly emperors. It was as if the stars were surrounding the moon. At this moment, Lu Shenhuang felt a little proud. This was because this person was his father. Although it was the first time they had met, he still felt proud and excited. Primal Chaos Hall, damn it. All of this should have been mine. Mine. In the crowd, Yuan Xian was roaring in her heart. Her eyes were red with jealousy. Yuan Xian had seen Earth One and the rest back then. Back then, Yuan Xian and the others had told him that he had to defeat Lu Ming in order to become the young master of the Chaos Hall. However, Lu Ming had defeated him in the end, and he had naturally lost the right to inherit the Chaos Hall. What he didn't expect was that Earth One and the rest were actually powerhouses of the Heavenly Emperor realm. This made him go crazy with jealousy. How great would it be if he inherited all of this? But now, he could only roar in his heart and didn't dare to make a sound. He was extremely sullen. Seniors, there's no need to be so polite. I've troubled all of you today. Lu Ming smiled. Young master's enemies are our enemies, Tui said. He then turned around and looked at Lancheng and the others. The 9 heavenly emperors' auras were so terrifying that Lancheng and the others' expressions changed drastically as they retreated. The difference was too great. There were more than a dozen heavenly emperors on Lu Ming's side. They completely crushed Lancheng and the others. Their expressions were extremely ugly. Hand over those people from back then, not a single one less. Lu Ming stared at Lancheng and said coldly, Lu Ming, you're the one who killed them and stole their treasures. The people of the Lan family are only following the rules of the Heaven Realm. That's why we're hunting you down. Yet you harbor a grudge and want to kill them. This is outrageous. How can there be such a reason in the world? Lancheng bellowed angrily and continued to quibble. He used the Heaven Realm's rules to pressure Lu Ming. Lu Ming sneered. He had already lost his patience and was too lazy to argue with the other party. Lancheng, you don't have to quibble here. You're using the Heaven Realm's laws to pressure me. I'm not here to reason with you today. I'm here to take someone back. You have to hand him over even if you don't want to. Do you understand? Lu Ming said indifferently. These words made many people's hearts tremble, and they were shocked beyond words. Lu Ming's words were very obvious. They were not here to reason, but to demand for the person. The Lan family had to hand the person over regardless of whether they wanted to or not. This was to force the Lan family to hand over their people. A junior was actually forcing a heavenly emperor. No, not just a heavenly emperor, but several powerful forces. This was extremely domineering. Many young people's blood boiled as they watched. In the city of Lan, the Yen family's celestial Tharch and the others looked terrible. If not for the fact that there were too many experts standing beside Lu Ming, they would have slapped him to death long ago. But now they could only endure it. Hurry up and call for reinforcements. If the Lan family doesn't hand over their people today, I will slaughter 10,000 people from the Lan family, and 10,000 people from the Yen family to be buried with Senior by Tai. Lu Ming said coldly. He had already lost his patience. You dare? In Lan City, the Yen clan's celestial Tharch bellowed. Why not? Kill. Lu Ming shouted and rushed to the Lan family's area where countless Lan family disciples were gathered. You're looking for death. Lancheng bellowed in anger and wanted to deal with Lu Ming. However, Earth One threw a punch and mountains appeared, forcing Lancheng to retreat. A great emperor from the Lan family was about to make a move. Gold One appeared, and a terrifying aura burst out. All the great emperors from the Lan family vomited blood and retreated. Kill. Lu Ming let out a long howl and threw a punch. Bang. Bang. There were 7 to 8 true Emperor Realm powerhouses from the Lan family who were blown up by Lu Ming, their flesh and blood flying everywhere. Lu Ming showed no mercy to the Lan family. Bai Tai was killed by the Lan and Yen families. He must take revenge. Lu Ming, you're crazy. You killed the Heaven Realm's experts. These people are the forces against the alien race, but you killed your own people. Are you a spy for the alien race? Lancheng roared. He was about to go crazy. Lu Ming was too decisive. He attacked immediately and killed the Lan family's experts. At this moment, the people of the Lan family scattered in fear. Ha ha ha, these pieces of trash can't even kill a few outsiders. I alone can kill 1,000 times, 10,000 times the number of non-humankind beings. I alone can fight against an army of 10,000 men and horses. Kill. Lu Ming let out a long howl and threw another punch. A few Lan family experts were blown up. Run, run. Lan Yun was also mixed in with the crowd. He was running away in fear. To him, Lu Ming was simply a lunatic. However, at the next moment, he shouted in horror because Lu Ming had his eyes on him. Lu Ming appeared above his head in a flash and stomped on Lan Yun's face. Lan Yun screamed in pain, and his body fell heavily to the ground. He kept screaming in pain. Let go of Lan Yun. Lancheng bellowed, his eyes red. Lan Yun wasn't an ordinary person. He was a peak-grade Heaven's Pride expert, and had the potential to become a Heaven sovereign in the future. He couldn't die. He charged at Lu Ming with all his might, but he was blocked by Tui. Hand him over. Lu Ming's reply was a simple word, his voice resounding and powerful. At this moment, the scene was silent, and time and space seemed to have frozen. There was only one person in everyone's eyes, and that was Lu Ming. Who would have thought that such a scene would happen today? Lu Ming killed the Lan family's experts in front of Lan City and the Heavenly Emperor, while Lan City was helpless. The Lan family's peerless expert, the Luo clan's celestial Varch, the master of the Eternal Star River, and the others all had ugly expressions on their faces. However, none of them made a move. The forces that Lu Ming had brought were too powerful. If they made a move against more than 10 celestial thearchs, they would only be courting death. Young man, you've gone too far. At this moment, a voice suddenly rang out. The voice came from the depths of the Lan family. The voice was old and seemed to be filled with the aura of time. It was nothing to ordinary people, but when the Hongyu celestial Varch, Earth One, Gold One, and the others heard this voice, their faces changed drastically and revealed a grave expression. This was because this voice brought them great pressure. Ancestor, ancestor! Lanqing shouted in excitement. Many people were shocked. Legend had it that the Lan family had a peerless expert guarding it. He had been hiding in the depths of the Lan family, and was in seclusion all year round. That was a 4-star Heavenly Emperor. Could it be this one? Was the Lan family's peerless expert about to be born? Boom! Just as everyone was lost in their thoughts, an aura burst out from the depths of the Lan family. This aura was ancient and powerful, shaking the world. Even the Heavenly Emperor realm figures could feel the terrifying pressure, and their faces turned extremely serious. Boom! It was as if an ancient heavenly Tao was pressing down on everyone's hearts. Many of the weaker cultivators had to kneel down. Then, a figure appeared in the depths of the Lan family. It was an old man wearing a coarse linen robe. His white hair fluttered in the wind as he walked through the air. Every step he took seemed to be stepping on people's hearts, making their hearts beat faster. We pay our respects to the ancestor. The people of the Lan family saluted one after another, their faces revealing wild joy. Ha ha ha, the Lan family's old ancestor has been born. Lu Ming, you dare to kill a member of the Lan family? You're dead. You're dead. I'm going to skin you alive and pull out your tendons, so that you'll never be able to reincarnate. Lan Yun roared, his face filled with madness and malevolence. Is that so? In that case, I can't let you go even more. Lu Ming's expression was calm as he spoke indifferently. His voice was filled with cold killing intent. Lu Ming, what are you trying to do? Lan Yun's expression changed drastically as he roared. Bang! Lu Ming stomped down hard on Lan Yun's face. A terrifying force burst out. Lan Yun screamed in pain. All the bones in his body were shattered by Lu Ming. His meridians were also blasted into pieces by Lu Ming. Lan Yun turned into a pile of mud and collapsed on the ground. His eyes were wide open and filled with disbelief. He wasn't dead, but he couldn't even scream. The others gasped and looked at Lu Ming in shock. They thought that Lu Ming would not dare to make a move now that the unparalleled expert of the Lan family had appeared. However, he had severely injured Lan Yun with one kick in front of the unparalleled expert of the Lan family. Lu Ming, you're courting death. Lanqing roared. The Lan family's patriarch's face darkened. The other party actually severely injured Lan Yun right in front of him. This was completely smacking his face. Young people are young and impetuous, not knowing the severity of things. Now let go of Lan Yun, kneel down and cripple your cultivation. The Lan clan's ancestor coldly spoke. Get lost. Lu Ming's response was only one word, get lost. This word made everyone's expression change drastically. Lu Ming was simply too audacious. He actually asked a peerless expert to get lost? The Lan family's patriarch's face turned completely dark as he said coldly, "You're so young, yet you don't know your place. I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of your elders." As soon as the Lan family's patriarch finished speaking, he took a step forward and charged toward Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. However, the next moment, an old man appeared in front of Lu Ming. He was a grand elder of the body cultivators. Get lost. The Lan family's ancestor shouted coldly as he stretched out a large hand and grabbed at the body cultivator grand elder. He was a peerless powerhouse, and ordinary heavenly emperors were no match for him. However, This body cultivator Grand Supreme Elder had a calm expression as he threw a punch. Bang! The physical cultivator Grand Elder's fist collided with the Lan family patriarch's palm. However, the result was beyond everyone's expectations. The Lan family patriarch's expression changed drastically, and his body trembled as if he had been electrocuted. He retreated continuously. One of his arms was deformed. As for the body cultivator Grand Elder, his body didn't even shake. Everyone couldn't help but widen their eyes. This body cultivator was actually able to force back the Lan family's peerless expert with one punch. This was too shocking. Could he also be a peerless expert? Lu Ming's expression was calm. There was indeed an unparalleled expert among the body cultivators. He was the most powerful Grand Elder of the immemorial body cultivators. So you're a fellow Taoist. I'd like to experience it today. The Lan family's patriarch spoke coldly as he pushed his strength to the limit. Boom. The Lan family's patriarch's body enlarged rapidly, turning into a giant that could support the heavens and earth. He struck out a terrifying move. A divine light slashed down violently at the body cultivator elder. Heavenly Emperor powerhouses were able to borrow the power of the heavenly Tao to launch terrifying attacks. This beam of divine light contained the power of the heavenly Tao, which was indestructible and could destroy everything. However, the body cultivator Grand Elder still only threw a punch. This punch seemed to be able to pierce through the universe and destroy the heavenly Tao. Boom. The divine light that the Lan family patriarch had sent out was pierced through. The terrifying fist force pierced through the heavens and earth. The Lan family's ancestor let out a muffled groan as his body retreated rapidly. After retreating tens of thousands of miles, his body trembled, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, their hearts in turmoil. The Lan family's ancestor had been defeated. He had been beaten by a body cultivator to the point where he spat out blood in one move. He was completely outmatched. How did this happen? Lan City, the other members of the Lan family, and the Yen family's celestial Tharch were all shocked and in disbelief. Even the Lan family's old ancestor was no match for him, and was injured by a single punch. Lan Yun's eyes revealed a look of despair. Hand him over. At this moment, Lu Ming continued to speak, his voice getting colder. Ow. The Lan family's ancestor sighed, and revealed a helpless expression. He understood that he was no match for the old body cultivator. If he were to fight, he would definitely be the one to die. Lu Ming, the Lan family can hand over the person, but you have to let Lan Yun go. The Lan family's patriarch looked at Lu Ming. Let Lan Yun go? Are you waiting for him to take revenge on me? Didn't you hear him shouting that he wanted me to suffer a fate worse than death? Moreover, in the past, Lan Yun wanted to kill me at every turn. I've already let him off a few times, but he didn't know how to cherish the opportunity. Then there will be no future. Lu Ming said coldly. Lan Yun revealed an expression of fear and despair, wanting to struggle with all his might. However, all the bones and meridians in his body had been shattered by Lu Ming. He could not move at all. Boom. Lu Ming's energy burst forth and bombarded Lan Yun's body. Lan Yun's body immediately exploded, turning into ashes and dissipating. A top-notch genius was killed by Lu Ming just like that. The eyes of Lan City and the other experts of the Lan family turned red, and their hearts were bleeding. The Lan family had produced many Heaven's favorites in this generation. They only had 2 top Heaven's favorites, but now, one of them was killed in front of everyone. Moreover, he did it in front of Lan City, the Lan family's ancestor, and countless experts. This was a slap in the face. Crushing a true emperor, the Lan family's patriarch, Lan Cheng, and the rest were shocked and furious. Cold killing intent emanated from their bodies, and they could not wait to slap Lu Ming to death. However, when they saw the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor, the body cultivators, and the 9 heavenly emperors of the Primal Chaos Palace, they held back. With so many heavenly emperor powerhouses, there were even peerless powerhouses. This force was enough to wipe the Lan family off the face of the earth. Therefore, they did not dare to kill Lu Ming. In fact, if they wanted to kill Lu Ming in the future, they would not dare to let anyone know. Otherwise, this force would be enough to kill them. They were mad with hatred, but now they could only hold it in. Hand him over. Lu Ming spoke indifferently again. Lan Cheng was so angry that he almost vomited blood. The other members of the Lan family were the same. The Lan family's patriarch's face was extremely gloomy as he squeezed out a word. Hand over. Go and find those people who attacked Lu Ming back then. Lan Cheng ordered. Not long after, a few true Emperor realm powerhouses from the Lan family arrived. They were the ones who had killed Bai Tai and Lu Ming. At this moment, these people looked at Lu Ming in horror. Yan family, where are your people? Lu Ming looked at the Yan family's celestial Varch and said coldly, the Yan family's people are not here. It will take time to call them over. The Yan clan's heavenly emperor spoke. I'll be waiting here. Lu Ming spoke calmly and really started to wait there. At the scene, everyone was discussing in low voices. No one left and they all waited here. Time passed day by day. Finally, a ray of light rushed over from the distance. The Yan clan had arrived. Some of them were the ones who had attacked Lu Ming back then. When they saw Lu Ming, their expressions changed drastically. They were in disbelief. They had thought that Lu Ming was dead. They did not expect that Lu Ming was not dead and was still alive and well. Then, an expert from the Yan family explained everything to the Yan family. He didn't tell them before because he was afraid that they would resist and escape. Upon hearing this, the Yan family members were horrified. They could not believe that Lu Ming had actually forced the Yan family's celestial Varch to hand them over. Back then, it was the Yan family's celestial Varch who ordered them to attack Lu Ming. Now the Yan family's celestial Varch was going to hand them over for self-protection. However, they didn't dare to make a sound. This was the Heavenly Emperor's decision, and they couldn't go against his orders. They still had their family and friends. There were dozens of people from the Lan and Yan families. Lu Ming's gaze swept across these people. He remembered each and every one of them very clearly. When Lu Ming's gaze swept over them, these people revealed looks of fear. Boom. Lu Ming took a step forward and the void trembled. I can give you a chance to fight me. As long as you can kill me, you can live. Lu Ming said indifferently. The eyes of the Lan family and the Yan family lit up. Even the eyes of the Lan family's patriarch, Lan Cheng, and the Yan family's celestial Varch lit up. Although Lu Ming had defeated Yuanyi, Yuanyi's combat strength was only at the level of a rank 15 true emperor. These people, on the other hand, had the combat strength of a rank 17 true emperor. One of them had even made a breakthrough in the past 2 years, and reached the level of a rank 18 true emperor. Among them, there were more than 10 with the battle strength of a level 16 and level 15 true emperor. Such power was enough to kill Lu Ming. This was a great opportunity. Lu Ming was courting death. If he killed Lu Ming like this, the Heavenly Emperor of the Primal Chaos Palace, the Body Cultivator Heavenly Emperor, and the others would have nothing to say. Promise him that you'll kill him when you have the chance. I'll reward whoever kills him handsomely. I'll do my best to help you become a great emperor. Lan Cheng transmitted his voice to those people. The eyes of those people lit up, especially the eyes of the strongest experts. This time, it might be a blessing in disguise. As long as he killed Lu Ming, he would be heavily rewarded. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming stepped in the air, as if he was a prehistoric giant beast. With every step he took, the air rumbled and he charged toward the true emperors of the Lan and Yin families. Do it! One of them suddenly roared and charged at Lu Ming. A single move would affect the whole body. One person took action and led the others to charge toward Lu Ming. There were dozens of true emperors, and even the weakest of them had the battle power of a 10th level true emperor. With so many of them attacking together, the power was astonishing. Dozens of attacks were launched at Lu Ming from all directions, trying to drown him. Can Lu Ming be his match? Everyone's eyes were fixed on the scene. Boom. At this moment, Lu Ming made his move. He completely ignored the attacks in front of him and charged forward in an overbearing manner. The attacks landed on Lu Ming's body and were destroyed. Kill! Lu Ming let out a long howl and swung his fists continuously. Streams of terrifying fist force blasted forward. In front of him, there were 5 to 6 figures whose bodies were as big as watermelons. They were directly blown up in the air by Lu Ming. So strong! Many people's hearts trembled. Those 5 to 6 people were all at least at the 10th level of the true Emperor realm. There was even one at the 15th level of the true Emperor realm. However, they were still blown up by Lu Ming with one punch. After killing 5 to 6 people, Lu Ming did not stop and continued to kill his way forward. Lu Ming exerted the strength of his body to the extreme. At the same time, he also unleashed the power of the world and used a few types of laws. Lu Ming had only used 4 types of laws, but these people were no longer his match. Boom! A fist force as thick as a mountain blasted a big hole in the void and crushed forward. Where the fist force passed, another 5 or 6 people were killed. One of them was a rank 16 true emperor. This made everyone gasp. Everyone finally understood that Lu Ming had not used his full strength in his battle with Yuanyi. Otherwise, he could have killed Yuanyi in one move. Yuanyi's expression was terrible. Those below level 15 of the true emperor stage retreat and attack from a distance. Those above level 15 of the true emperor stage attack. Someone shouted. Instantly, they formed a temporary formation. Those below rank 15 true emperor would retreat and attack Lu Ming from the back. Those with the combat strength of a level 15 true emperor started to attack Lu Ming. In particular, there were 2 level 17 true emperors and 1 level 18 true emperor. Their combat strength was the most shocking and they launched a sure kill attack. Die! Lu Ming did not dodge but threw a punch. An expert with the combat power of a level 17 true emperor was directly defeated by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's fist force did not stop and crushed his body. He let out a cry of despair as his body was torn apart. Buzz! Lu Ming's body spun and his right leg swept out like a long whip towards another rank 17 true emperor powerhouse. This person could not withstand a single blow. Just like the previous one, he was sent flying tens of thousands of miles away by Lu Ming's leg and exploded. What? Everyone was shocked. In particular, those who had fought with Lu Ming were shocked. They looked frightened and incredulous. The 2 powerhouses with the combat power of a rank 17 true emperor could not even withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. They were like babies. Lu Ming's combat strength was too terrifying. Chapter 23-28. The other people who were fighting with Lu Ming were even more shocked. They were almost scared to death, especially the rank 18 true emperor expert. He could easily kill 2 rank 17 true emperors, but he could not. Lu Ming's combat strength was far above his. Run, run. The remaining people only had this thought in their minds. They turned around and ran. The one with a rank 18 true emperor's combat power was the fastest to run. You want to leave? A cold glint flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. His 6 feathered divine wings appeared. With one flap, Lu Ming caught up with the man who had the combat power of a rank 18 true emperor. Seeing that he could not escape, the rank 18 true emperor turned around and roared. He exploded with all his power and charged at Lu Ming. However, it was all in vain. Lu Ming's punch landed and directly destroyed the opponent's attack. It pierced through the opponent's body, and the terrifying force tore the opponent's body apart. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and grabbed the other party's world core. A rank 18 true emperor was also killed instantly. Many people were so shocked that they could not speak. This kind of combat strength was truly terrifying. What was the combat power of a rank 18 true emperor? That was, one had to have an ultimate law and control 9 king path laws at the same time to have the battle power of a rank 18 true emperor. Those who could reach this step were all top-tier heaven's favorites. Some people only comprehended an ultimate maxim after becoming a monarch, but they were also terrifying geniuses. Their future achievements would be limitless. It was obvious that the other party was such a character. The hearts of Lan Cheng and the others were bleeding. Today they lost Lanyan one after another. And also that expert just now. This was an absolutely unimaginable loss. However, they could only watch helplessly as those people were killed by Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming let out a long howl and flapped his 6 feathered wings continuously. He was extremely fast as he charged towards the remaining people. Those people screamed and begged, but it was useless. It was too late for them to regret. They were hunted down by Lu Ming one by one. Not long after, Dozens of powerhouses had all fallen and the world core was dug out by Lu Ming. What kind of combat strength is this? An 18th level true emperor can't even fight back. This is too shocking. From now on, no one in the younger generation will be able to compete with Lu Ming. His opponents will be those of the older generation. The so-called 9 absolutes can't even withstand a single blow from him. Countless people were discussing, and their hearts were in turmoil. How did this happen? Stellar River, Yuan Xian, and the other prodigies who had grudges with Lu Ming were all dumbfounded. Their eyes were wide open in disbelief. During the 10 Lands battle, although Lu Ming was strong, there was a limit to how much stronger he was. Moreover, even if Lu Ming could not become a martial emperor, they were confident that they would surpass him and crush him in the future. However, it had only been a few years and Lu Ming's ability had already reached a height that they could not hope to reach. The gap was too great. The current Lu Ming could kill them with one finger. They were still at the empty emperor realm. While Lu Ming could even kill a rank 18 true emperor. They were completely incomparable. He's awesome. I'll definitely follow him in the future. The unscrupulous monk kept calling out. We have to work hard too. Otherwise, Lu Ming will leave us in the dust. Indeed, Longchen, Fengling, and the others sighed. Father, Mother is right. Father is indeed unparalleled in the world. No one can compare to you. Looking at Lu Ming in the air, Lu Shenhuang clenched his fists in excitement. In Land City, the Yan family's celestial Tharch, the Lan family's patriarch, and the others were all furious and filled with killing intent. However, they could only hold back their anger. Let's go. The Lan family's old ancestor snorted coldly and turned around to take a step forward, wanting to leave. Lan Cheng and the others were the same. Wait a moment. Lu Ming's voice was heard. The Lan family's ancestor, and the rest stopped. What else do you have to say? Lan Cheng asked, suppressing his anger. Master Lan is really forgetful. I won first place, so where are the 100 chaos gems? Give them to me. Lu Ming said indifferently. You. Lan Cheng was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Lu Ming had killed so many people from the Lan family today. Now he was actually asking him for stones of chaos. This was preposterous. What's wrong? Your Lan family said it yourself. Don't tell me you don't want to admit it? Or perhaps, you're toying with the others like monkeys? Lu Ming said indifferently. Lan Cheng was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Give it to him. The Lan clan's old ancestor said. In the end, Lan Cheng had no choice but to take out a storage ring and throw it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took it and saw that there were 100 chaos gems inside. Thank you. These chaos gems can help my cultivation level improve again. Haha. Lu Ming laughed heartily. Lan Cheng's eyelids and lips trembled non-stop. Thank you, my ass. If not for the circumstances, why would I give Lu Ming 100 chaos gems? It was for Yuanyi. Let's go. Lan Cheng squeezed out a word from the depths of his throat and turned to leave. The people from the Lan family, the Yan family, and those who were related to the Lan family all left and entered the large palace in the depths of the Lan family. Lu Ming did not let Earth One, Gold One, or other body cultivators to keep the other party. With their strength, they were enough to flatten the Lan family. However, the Lan family and the Yan family were, after all, major forces with ancient inheritances. With a few heavenly emperors, they would be of great use to the heaven realm. If Lu Ming completely razed the Lan family to the ground because of Bai Tai's matter, he was afraid that the other celestial emperors in the heaven realm would intervene and stop him. Moreover, the Lan family's old ancestor was a peerless expert. If they were to run for their lives, they had no confidence in keeping him here. If a berserk peerless expert were to take revenge, that would be too terrifying. But now, the other party was worried about Lu Ming's strength and definitely did not dare to take revenge. At least, they would not dare to take revenge openly. Everyone in the surroundings sighed. They didn't think that today's matter would turn out like this. The Lan family and Yuanyi were supposed to be the stars of the day. Yuanyi had defeated Lin Xiaofeng and reached the top, becoming the #1 genius in the world. However, everything had changed drastically because of Lu Ming's appearance. In the end, The Lan family and the Yen family suffered heavy losses and left dejectedly. Lu Ming became the main character of the day. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, long time no see. The heartless monk rushed out with a face full of smiles. Long Chun, Huang Ling, Huang Li, Ouyang Wushuang, and the others also stepped into the air and came to Lu Ming's side. Lu Ming greeted everyone one by one. Brother Long, this is for you. A jade bangle appeared in Lu Ming's hand, and he passed it to Long Chun. This was Long Chun's fiancée, and Xian Yanlin had asked Lu Ming to give it to Long Chun. When Lu Ming was in the Divine Wilderness continent, he had taken the time to meet Xian Yanlin, and told her about Long Chun's current situation. She then asked Lu Ming to help Long Chun wear a bangle. Long Chun's eyes flickered. He took the bangle and cupped his fists at Lu Ming. Many thanks. You're welcome. Xian Yanlin asked me to pass you a message. She said that she'll wait for you, no matter how many years it takes. Lu Ming said. Long Chun didn't say much, but his eyes were teary. Father. At this moment, a voice was heard. Lu Shenhuang walked over. Chapter 23-29. Divine Wilderness. Lu Ming looked over and asked, Where is your mother now? It's in the Taiqing heavenly region not far from here. Lu Shenhuang said. All right, let's leave this place first. Take me to your mother. Lu Ming said. Then the group left Blue Moon City. Hundreds of thousands of miles away, Lu Ming, Long Chun, Earth One, Gold One, the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor, and the others bade farewell, and headed in a certain direction with Lu Shenhuang. Along the way, the father and son talked a lot. Lu Ming also found out that Xian Yanqing had come to the Taiqing heavenly region more than 10 years ago. All these years he had been cultivating in the Taiqing heavenly region, and had even taught Lu Shenhuang how to cultivate. Lu Ming was secretly amazed. In just a dozen years, Xian Yanqing was able to bring Lu Shenhuang's cultivation to the 3-star illusionary emperor stage. His combat strength was even more shocking. Lu Shenhuang's talent was undeniably shocking, but it had a lot to do with Xian Yanqing's method of teaching. Divine Wilderness. Has there been anything unusual about your mother all these years? Lu Ming asked. There are. Lu Shenhuang nodded his head and his face turned serious. In mother's body, there seem to be two people who sometimes love me dearly, and sometimes treat me coldly. But they have one thing in common, and that is that they will seriously teach me how to cultivate. Like this. Lu Ming muttered, his heart heavy. He recalled the time in the land of infinite demons. Wasn't Xian Yanqing the same? The day before they were fine. But after that he wanted to kill him. It seemed like a different person. Until now, Lu Ming still did not know what was going on. This was exactly what Lu Shenhuang had said. The two of them chatted as they traveled. This was the first time the father and son had met. At first, they were a little distant, but as they chatted, they felt that their relationship had become closer. Their speed was very fast, and after a few days, they arrived at a mountain range. On the peak of the highest mountain, there was a lake. The lake was like a mirror, adorning the peak of the mountain, making this place look like a peach forest. There was a figure standing by the lake, wearing a black dress. Her long black hair reached her waist and fluttered in the wind, making her look like a goddess who had descended to the mortal world. Little Qing. Lu Ming's heart trembled, and a sense of joy welled up in his heart. That figure was definitely Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming would not mistake him for someone else. Even if it was just his back, Lu Ming would not forget it. It had been more than 10 years. It had been more than 10 years since they had parted ways in the land of myriad demons. Mother! Lu Shenhuang shouted and flew towards Xian Yanqing. Divine Wilderness, you are back. Did you gain anything from this trip? What kind of heaven's favorite did I encounter? Xian Yanqing said in a clear voice before turning around. She looked exactly the same as before. After not seeing her for more than 10 years, Xian Yanqing's face had not changed at all. Lu Ming looked at Xian Yanqing in a daze. When Xian Yanqing turned around, he saw Lu Ming. Her words came to an abrupt end, and she looked at Lu Ming in a daze. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing muttered in disbelief. She could not believe that she would meet Lu Ming here. Furthermore, Lu Ming came with Lu Shenhuang. This was beyond her expectations. Mother, look who I've brought. Lu Shenhuang flew over, Lu Ming. Xian Yinqing murmured. Tears welled up in her eyes as she missed Lu Ming dearly. Then, she stepped into the air and flew toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming also flew over. However, when Xian Yinqing was halfway through her flight, her delicate body trembled. At that moment her gaze changed. It became as cold as a knife. When she looked at Lu Ming, she was filled with murderous intent. Lowly ant die. Xian Yinqing's voice was as cold as a knife. A jet-black sword light slashed at Lu Ming. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. Xian Yinqing's move was a fatal threat to him. He felt that if he was hit by this move he would definitely die. Retreat. Lu Ming retreated rapidly. At this moment, Lu Ming burst out with all his strength and retreated like a bolt of lightning. However, the jet-black sword light was like a bone-piercing awl, following closely behind Lu Ming at a speed faster than his. Block. A long spear was condensed in Lu Ming's hands. This long spear was formed by 9 types of laws. It was Lu Ming's most powerful abhijna, the infinite dragon spear. At the same time, Lu Ming's physical strength and world energy burst out. Whoosh! Whoosh! The long spear trembled. At this moment, Lu Ming stabbed out hundreds of times in a row. Hundreds of spear gleams stabbed at the jet-black sword gleam. This could be said to be Lu Ming's most powerful combat ability at the moment. No true emperor could block this move. Boom! 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 A few hundred spear radiances struck the black sword radiance in succession, causing continuous explosions. However, the jet-black sword gleam was extremely sharp. Lu Ming's spear gleam exploded inch by inch and was swept away. Whoosh! Although Lu Ming resisted with all his might and retreated rapidly at the same time, there was still a sharp gleam that swept past him. Even though Lu Ming had activated the imperishable golden body and his physical defense, he could not withstand the attack. His body was almost cut in half and a deep wound appeared. Even his bone armor was broken. Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood, his eyes filled with shock. Great Emperor! He could clearly sense that Xian Yinqing's cultivation had already reached the Great Emperor realm. This speed was too fast. One must know that Lu Ming's cultivation speed was already astonishingly fast. It could be said that he was advancing at a tremendous pace. However, Xian Yinqing's speed of improvement was even faster than his. He had already entered the Great Emperor realm. Coupled with that terrifying power, Lu Ming was no match for him at all. The difference was too great. Kill! Xian Yinqing was surprised to see that his attack did not kill Lu Ming. He shouted and charged at Lu Ming again. Mother, don't! At this moment, Shen Huanglu shouted and rushed over in a panic. Hearing Lu Shenhuang's voice, Xian Yinqing's body trembled, and she stopped her pursuit. Her eyes were filled with struggle. Mother, don't kill father. Don't! Lu Shenhuang shouted as he rushed forward and stood in front of Xian Yinqing. Lu Ming seized the opportunity to circulate the indestructible ancient scroll with all his might, and focus on recovering from his injuries. His wounds were recovering at an astonishing speed. Little Qing, wake up, it's me! Lu Ming shouted. Mother, it's father! Lu Shenhuang also shouted. The struggle in Xian Yinqing's eyes grew stronger and stronger. Finally he shouted. Lu Ming, leave quickly! Leave quickly! With that, Xian Yinqing turned around and disappeared in a flash of light. Little Qing! Lu Ming shouted and chased after him at top speed. However, Xian Yinqing was too fast. He was nowhere to be seen. Damn it, what's going on? Lu Ming roared angrily. He really could not figure it out. Xian Yinqing's condition didn't seem like he had been possessed. When they first met, it was indeed Xian Yinqing. However, it was as if he had become a different person. Lu Shenhuang was also at a loss. He did not expect that the meeting between his parents would end up like this. Chapter 23:30. The father and son stood in place, looking at each other, not knowing what to do. Lu Ming. At this moment, a voice was heard. Lu Ming turned around and saw a graceful figure in a long white dress. She looked almost the same as Xian Yinqing, peerless in beauty. Thank you, Nianjuan. Lu Ming was at a loss for words. He had never expected that Xian Yinjuan would be nearby. Back at Yuan Mountain, Lu Ming had gone to the ancient sacred clan to look for Xian Yinjuan. His purpose was to find out about Xian Yanqing. However, the people of the ancient sacred clan told him that Xian Yanjuan had left and no one knew where he was. It turned out that Xian Yanjuan had also come to the heavenly realm. Lu Shenhuang let out a smile and flew over. It was obvious that Lu Shenhuang and Xian Yanjuan knew each other. Xian Yanjuan flew in the air and stopped in front of Lu Ming. He sized him up curiously. Lu Ming, I haven't seen you for many years. Your cultivation has improved a lot. Xian Yanjuan smiled. I can't compare to you, Lu Ming said. He sized up Xian Yanjuan and the surprise in his eyes intensified. Unfathomable. In his eyes, Xian Yanjuan was unfathomable. He had no idea what Xian Yanjuan's current realm was. However, he was definitely not a true emperor, nor was he a true emperor. He was definitely above a true emperor. Great Emperor Realm. It was very likely that Xian Yanjuan's cultivation was also at the Great Emperor Realm. At the thought of this, Lu Ming was dumbfounded. What was going on? How could Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan's cultivation speed be so fast? Lu Ming had to go through countless hardships to reach his current cultivation level. The other Heaven Realm Heaven's Pride experts were even weaker. For example, Xian Yuan, he only had the combat power of a level 15 true emperor. However, he was the strongest after Lu Ming. However, Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan, who were about the same age as Lu Ming and the rest, had already broken through to the Great Emperor Realm. If this were to spread out, it would probably scare people to death. Lu Ming, don't you want to know why Xian Yanqing is like this now? Xian Yanjuan smiled. You know? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Of course one know. Let's go to the side and talk. Little guy, don't follow me, Xian Yanjuan said to Lu Shenhuang, before he walked towards the center of the lake. Lu Ming followed behind him. The two of them came to the center of the lake and stood on the surface. Lu Ming looked at Xian Yanjuan, waiting for her answer. Do you know about your past and present life? Xian Yanjuan retorted. Past and present life? Lu Ming was stunned. Xian Yanjuan did not answer. He only smiled at Lu Ming. You mean reincarnation, past life and present life? Lu Ming asked. That's right, reincarnation, past life and present life. Xian Yanjuan nodded. How is that possible? As far as one knows, although the world has the law of reincarnation, no one can be reincarnated. Once you die, your body dies and your Tao vanishes, everything becomes nothing, Lu Ming said. At Lu Ming's current cultivation level, he understood more. No one in the world could reincarnate. At most, one could possess a body. Even a peak heavenly emperor invincible powerhouse would not be able to reincarnate. Moreover, Lu Ming had once asked the reincarnation emperor about it, and the reincarnation emperor had given him a similar answer. They can't be reincarnated because those people are too weak. As long as their cultivation realm is high enough, anything is possible, Xian Yanjuan said with a hint of disdain. Lu Ming was tongue-tied and did not know how to answer for a moment. Too weak. A peak heavenly emperor was too weak in Xian Yanjuan's words? A peak heavenly emperor was already an unrivaled powerhouse in this world. According to Lu Ming's knowledge, only the ancestral dragon was above the heavenly emperor. Could it be that there was reincarnation above the heavenly emperor? You're saying that little Qing is the reincarnation of an expert, and her memories of her past life have been awakened. With Lu Ming's intelligence, he immediately thought of many things. That's right. Xian Yanqing is indeed the reincarnation of a powerful figure. Moreover, the memories of her previous life have been awakened. That's why when you see Xian Yanqing, it's as if there are two people in her body. Originally, the awakening of the memories of my previous life should be melded with the memories of this life. In the end, with the memories of my previous life as the dominant factor, it's highly possible that I'll once again step onto the unparalleled path, and even surpass my previous life. However, Xian Yanqing didn't want to merge his previous life with his current life. Once he did, he would have to use his previous life's memories as the main focus. If that happened, he wouldn't be the Xian Yanqing he is now. That's why this is happening, Xian Yanjuan explained. So it's like this, so it's like this. After Xian Yanjuan's explanation, Lu Ming had a sudden realization. Reincarnation actually existed in this world. Xian Yanqing had awakened the memories of his past life, but he was unwilling to merge them together. Xian Yanqing definitely couldn't let go, so he didn't want to merge with her. Therefore, it was as if there were two people in Xian Yanqing's body. One moment he was controlled by the memories of his previous life, and the other moment he was controlled by the memories of this life. Xian Yanqing must have been an extremely powerful expert in his past life. However, Lu Ming had taken possession of his body and his chastity. Xian Yanqing felt humiliated, so he wanted to kill Lu Ming the moment he saw him. Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Also, back in the demonic sea of the land of infinite demons, those black-robed men had stolen the ancient demon coffin and placed Xian Yanqing inside. It was very likely that they were trying to help Xian Yanqing regain his memories. Lu Ming had figured everything out. Who? Lu Ming took a deep breath and looked at Xian Yanjuan. You're also a reincarnation of an expert, right? Not bad. In my previous life, Xian Yanqing and I were sisters. Xian Yanjuan smiled. Lu Ming was slightly taken aback. In his previous life, Xian Yanjuan and Xian Yanqing were biological sisters. They had both reincarnated and were still sisters after reincarnation. No wonder they looked so similar. And it was obvious that Xian Yanjin's memories of his past life and present life had merged. However, in the history of the Heaven Realm, were there such two strong people? What level were you at in your previous life? Could it be the realm above Heavenly Emperor? Lu Ming was very puzzled. More questions emerged in his heart. Above Heavenly Emperor? Forget it. One won't talk about this anymore. You won't understand anyway. 111 teach you how to help Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanjuan said. You have a way? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Of course. You just need to help her and let her memories of her past and present life merge together. That's all. Xian Yanjuan said. No, according to what you said, the memory of the previous life and the current life will merge, and the previous life will be the dominant one. At that time, little Qing will not be little Qing. No. Lu Ming shook his head. This was hard for him to accept. Who said that after the fusion, the previous life must be the dominant one? Xian Yanjuan pouted. Right now, Xian Yanqing has two memories. He's fighting for control. Whoever has the upper hand and has the absolute advantage in devouring the other's memory will naturally be the dominant one. For example, if Xian Yanqing's memory of this life prevailed and he devoured the memory of his previous life, it would only mean that he had an extra memory. It would have no effect on his personality. Xian Yanqing would still be Xian Yanqing. Do you understand? Xian Yanjuan explained. Chapter 2331. Lu Ming nodded. He could understand this. It was just like how he had fused with some of the 9 dragons' memory fragments back then, but that didn't affect him. It only meant that he had some more memories, but he was still himself and wouldn't become another person. It was the same for Xian Yanqing. As long as Xian Yanqing's memories of this life prevailed, and she devoured the memories of her previous life, she would only have some more memories. Not only would she be fine, but she would also obtain a great opportunity. What should I do to make little Qing's memories of this life devour the memories of her previous life? Lu Ming asked. It's simple. Xian Yanjuan smiled slyly and said, Actually, you have the advantage now. You have a son, the son of Xian Yanqing, and you. With a son by her side, it can greatly affect Xian Yanqing's memory of this life. It will make her more obsessed and reluctant to let go. That's why her memory of this life can't be combined with her memory of her previous life. From now on, as long as you can stay by Xian Yanqing's side and accompany her, her obsession will naturally become stronger. You can even get to know her more and sleep with her more. Her memories of this life will naturally take over, and then devour the memories of her previous life. All. Lu Ming was somewhat dumbfounded. Sleep with more? It was that simple? How is it? Don't you feel happy? The method I taught you was not bad, right? Xian Yanjuan smiled. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. The memories of her previous life make her hate me to death. I'm afraid she'll kill me before I can even get close to her, let alone sleep with her. Lu Ming touched his nose and said, That's why your cultivation is too weak. You should focus on your cultivation. As long as your cultivation surpasses Xian Yanqing, you will be able to suppress her and subdue her. Then, you will be able to do whatever you want. Xian Yanjuan smiled slyly. Lu Ming was completely speechless. He felt immense pressure. It was mainly because Xian Yanqing's cultivation speed was too fast. As the reincarnation of an expert of unknown strength, even if the memories of his past life and present life were not merged, his cultivation speed was still shocking. Now he was already in the Great Emperor realm. It was too difficult for Lu Ming to catch up or even surpass Xian Yanqing. Is there no other way besides this? Lu Ming asked, unwilling to give up. No more. Xian Yanjuan shook his head. So you're saying that it's impossible for little Qing to recover in a short time? Lu Ming asked again. Yes, I am. Xian Yanjuan nodded. Lu Ming sighed helplessly. In the end, his cultivation level was too weak. Why are you helping me? Lu Ming asked curiously after a while. It's simple. Once Xian Yanqing devours the memories of her previous life, her cultivation speed will definitely slow down. In the future, she will no longer be my match. Xian Yanjuan chuckled as she spoke. Lu Ming was speechless. It turned out that this was the reason. With the memories of his past life taking over, Xian Yanqing would become a terrifying expert. His cultivation speed would naturally be shocking. However, the memory of this life devouring the memory of the previous life would only give him some more memories. Although it was also a supreme opportunity, there would still be a huge gap. In the end, Lu Ming stayed behind and accompanied Lu Shenhuang for a period of time. He gave Lu Shenhuang some cultivation resources. What Lu Shenhuang cultivated was not the system of laws. It was the system that Xian Yanqing cultivated. Lu Ming had never seen it before, but it was extremely exquisite and its power was shocking. Lu Ming stayed for another month. However, Xian Yanqing did not appear during this month. Lu Ming was helpless. He left a month later. Lu Shenhuang did not leave with Lu Ming. He continued to stay by Xian Yanqing's side. Cultivation. I must speed up my cultivation and help little Qing's memories of this life to devour her memories of her previous life. On the way back, Lu Ming secretly swore. He had thought that his cultivation speed was already very fast. He had even defeated Yuanyi and suppressed all the other geniuses to obtain first place. This made him feel like he was standing at the peak. But now he was under great pressure. Because of Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing's cultivation speed was faster than his. It was easier said than done to catch up or even surpass Xian Yanqing. This forced Lu Ming to keep moving forward. Not long after, Lu Ming contacted Earth One and the rest. Lu Ming brought Earth One and the rest, as well as the physical cultivators, back to Two World City. With the addition of these experts, Two World City's strength had increased greatly. The news of the battle in Blue Moon City had spread throughout the Taiqing heavenly region. Lu Ming's reputation had reached its peak. After defeating Yuanyi, there was no doubt that Lu Ming stood at the peak of the younger generation. Furthermore, the number of celestial thearchs standing behind Lu Ming was even more shocking. There was no doubt that Lu Ming had a great influence in the heaven realm. His influence was even greater than some of the celestial thearchs. After Lu Ming returned to Two World City, he devoted himself to cultivation. Meanwhile, Long Chun, Huang Ling, and Bubbles had also come to Two World City to cultivate. Sometimes they would go to the battlefields outside the city to train themselves. In addition, people like Heng Xinghe, Yuan Xian and Tian Ming, as well as the other heaven realm's proud children of heaven, including Jiuju, were all cultivating desperately. The battle at Blue Moon City had let them see Lu Ming's combat strength. Lu Ming had given them unimaginable pressure and made them understand their own shortcomings, forcing all the paragons to cultivate with all their might. In this great era where geniuses were as common as clouds, if one did not progress fast enough, they would be surpassed and crushed by others. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, 5 years had passed. To some emperor-ranked powerhouses, 5 years was merely a blink of an eye. However, to prodigies like Lu Ming and the rest, 5 years was of great significance. In the past 5 years, Lu Ming had made great progress in all aspects. First of all, Lu Ming had already cultivated the Seven Gods' mysterious technique to the late stage of the fourth realm. Now Lu Ming could defeat and even kill a rank 18 true emperor powerhouse with only his physical strength. This was just pure physical strength. However, the drop of ancestral dragon blood at his heart had almost been consumed. There was only a little left. Also, Lu Ming's remaining laws had all reached the third realm. Lu Ming's 9 types of laws had all reached the third realm. Over the years, Lu Ming had refined all the 100 chaos gems he had obtained from the Lan family. His cultivation had reached the peak of a 6-star true emperor, and he was not far from becoming a 7-star true emperor. This was an improvement in all aspects. Lu Ming did not know how strong his combat strength was now. Anyway, he could kill a rank 18 true emperor with a snap of his fingers. I wonder how my current strength is compared to a great emperor. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. A great emperor was much, much stronger than a true emperor. A great emperor cultivated all 9 types of nomological laws to the third realm, then used the 9 types of nomological laws to develop a great Tao. Great emperors could use the power of great Taos. Their battle power was far greater than a true emperor's. The difference was too great. Chapter 2332. Therefore Lu Ming was very curious now. Could he fight against the great emperor? Let's go and try. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and flew in one direction of Two World City. Not long after, Lu Ming came to an extremely open area. It was a drill ground in Two World City. The army and experts of Two World City usually trained here. From afar, Lu Ming could see a few huge light barriers that looked like a few big bowls that were upside down on the ground. All around the light barrier, there were different living beings. There were humans and all sorts of divine beasts. Lu Ming looked over and saw more than 10 true dragons circling the body. They were suspended in the air and were looking at one of the light shields seriously. There were also 8 to 9 phoenixes and more than 10 qilin. Here, divine beasts that were rarely seen in other places could be seen everywhere. The Two World City had gathered almost half of the Supreme Pure Heaven Region 1's powerhouses. Boom, boom. Violent rumbles came from the few light barriers. Someone was fighting inside. Lu Ming flew over and came to one of the light shields. Inside, a human powerhouse and a huge heavenly snake were fighting against each other. Both of them were true emperors with the battle power of a level 15 true emperor. They were considered top experts among true emperors. The living beings standing around the light barrier were at the true emperor realm. This is the place where the true emperors fight. Lu Ming's heart stirred. These light barriers were like battle platforms. They were places for the cultivators of Two World City to battle and train themselves. The light shield was formed by a formation and was firm and immortal. One could unleash their power as much as they wanted in the battle. After all, it was too dangerous to train on the battlefield outside Two World City. A single mistake could cost him his life. Therefore, many people fought and killed each other here to train themselves. Of course, the effect was definitely not as good as on the battlefield, because it was impossible to kill the other party here. At most, they would be seriously injured. Lu Ming. It's Lu Ming. The moment Lu Ming arrived, many people recognized him and caused a commotion. Many people's faces changed. Could it be that Lu Ming was going to make a move? Who in the true emperor realm could be his match? 5 years ago, Lu Ming could already kill a rank 18 true emperor with ease. Now that 5 years had passed, Lu Ming must have become even more unfathomable. However, Lu Ming had no intention of making a move. He had no interest in the true emperor realm, as it was of no use to him. Lu Ming looked at it for a while and walked towards another light shield. This light barrier was more than 10 times larger than the previous one. Light flowed and flickered with a metallic luster. Inside, there were 2 figures constantly clashing with each other. Terrifying rumbles shook the hearts of the people. The energy shot out in all directions, but it was blocked by the light shield. The light shield kept shaking, but it was not shattered. Great Emperor. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The ones fighting within the light barrier were Great Emperor realm experts. There were also a few people watching around the light barrier, but the number was much smaller. In the heaven realm, there were many true emperors, no less than void emperors. This was because it was not particularly difficult to break through to the true Emperor realm from the Void Emperor realm. As long as he had 3 types of laws, reached the second realm, and his cultivation reached the peak of the 7-star Void Emperor realm, he would be able to make a breakthrough. As long as one's talent wasn't too bad, it wouldn't be difficult to break through after a long time. However, breaking through to RHE Great Emperor realm wasn't something that could be endured. To break through to the Great Emperor realm, one had to have 9 types of laws and reach the 3rd realm. At the very least, one of them had to be a king path law. Those who were not talented enough would never be able to reach this level in their entire lives. Not to mention, he had comprehended a great Tao with 9 types of nomological laws. There might not even be one great emperor out of 100 true emperors. A great emperor was considered a first-class expert in the heaven realm. He would be respected wherever he went. Therefore, it was normal for great emperors to be rare here. Lu Ming. The great emperor's gazes flickered when they saw Lu Ming walking over. Could it be that Lu Ming wanted to spar with the great emperor? Not only did RHE great emperors think so, but the true emperors from before also thought so. Lu Ming went to the emperor battlefield. Does he want to spar with the emperor? Someone in the true emperor area exclaimed. That's impossible. The difference between a true emperor and a great emperor is too great. Even if Lu Ming can easily kill a level 18 true emperor, it's hard to fight against a great emperor. In history, no one has ever been able to fight a great emperor with the cultivation of a true emperor. Let's go and take a look. Many true emperors were flying toward the battle. Even the battle between the Void Thearchs in the distance was alarmed. Many Void Thearchs also flew over to watch from a distance. Lu Ming did not speak. He stared at the 2 people inside the light shield. The 2 people inside the light shield should be 2-star great emperors, and their battle was extremely intense. Boom. Boom. The 2 of them controlled RHE power of the Great Path, and continued to bombard it, developing terrifying attacks. Soon, the 2 were evenly matched and neither could win. It was a draw, and they were forced out of the light shield. Lu Ming, what are you doing here? Don't tell me you're looking for a great emperor to fight. At this moment, a voice was heard. A burly middle-aged man walked over. Not bad. Lu Ming nodded and did not hide anything. He had come to find a great emperor to fight and test his combat power. Many people were shocked. Lu Ming actually wanted to fight a great emperor. He was so confident. A true emperor fighting a great emperor? I've never heard of that. Aren't you being too arrogant? The middle-aged man sneered and revealed a mocking expression. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. This person ridiculed him the moment he arrived. It seemed like he was very unhappy with him. Which force are they from? Lu Ming pondered in his heart. What's your cultivation level? Lu Ming asked. 1-star Great Emperor. The middle-aged man replied. Alright, it's you then. I challenge you now. Come in and have a fight. Lu Ming was very direct. He challenged the other party directly. With that, he stepped into the light shield. If one entered from the outside, the light shield would not have the slightest reaction. However, if there was a force inside, the light shield would produce a strong defense. Seeing that Lu Ming actually challenged him, the middle-aged man's eyes glowed with a cold light. Everyone, Lu Ming was too arrogant and challenged me first. I didn't bully RHE weak or the strong. The middle-aged man said with an excited expression. Initially, he wanted to find a reason to challenge Lu Ming. He did not expect Lu Ming to challenge him first. It was exactly what he wanted. Although he was only a 1-star Great Emperor, and had comprehended an ordinary Great Tao, he was confident that he could easily suppress Lu Ming. A Great Emperor wasn't someone a true emperor could compare to. The top heaven's favorites who mastered one supreme law, 8 king path laws and cultivated them to the 3rd level only had the battle power of a rank 18 true emperor. Even the weakest great emperor was much stronger than a rank 18 true emperor. A true emperor couldn't be a match for a great emperor. This was the truth. Chapter 2333. The crowd was shocked. They did not expect Lu Ming to really challenge a great emperor. Furthermore, he was taking the initiative. A true emperor fighting a great emperor. This was enough to shock the world. Bang. The middle-aged man took a step forward and stepped into the light shield, standing opposite Lu Ming. Who do you think will win, Lu Ming or Lan Mo? Outside, some people started to discuss in low voices. I think Lan Mo will win for sure. Although Lu Ming's combat strength is strong, and he could easily kill a level 18 true emperor 5 years ago, the difference between a true emperor and a great emperor is too great. I've never heard of a true emperor fighting a great emperor. Even the strongest true emperor is no match for the weakest great emperor. That's right. Lu Ming is definitely not his match. I'm guessing that Lu Ming will be defeated within 20 moves. 20 moves? If Lu Ming has not made much progress in the past 5 years, I don't think he can even withstand 10 moves. Many people were discussing, but no one thought that Lu Ming could fight against the great emperor. The gap between them was too big. Blue membrane? It seems that you are from the Lan family. Lu Ming said indifferently, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. No wonder he was ridiculed by Lan Mo the moment he appeared here. It turned out that he was from the Lan family. That's right, Lu Ming. You're really arrogant. Although I can't kill you here, no one will say anything if I abuse you, Lan Mo said maliciously. Oh really? Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Then let me see what you, the number 1 heaven's pride in the heaven realm, have. Lan Mo said coldly. Then, with a loud boom, Lan Mo's figure charged towards Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. He threw a punch at Lu Ming with the force of Mount Tai. At this moment, Lu Ming squinted his eyes. The power of his physical body and the power of the world burst out. Buzz! Lu Ming struck out with his palm. There were 6 types of lusters on his palm, which contained 6 types of laws. Chaos laws, death laws, devouring laws, smithing laws, array laws and pill laws. This was a sacred art. Lu Ming had obtained the advanced version of the ancient chaos scripture. It recorded many supernormal abilities and contained many types of laws. One of the palm techniques contained 9 types of nomological laws. It was an evolved version of the chaos divine palm. However, Lu Ming had only cultivated 4 of the 9 types of laws. Over the years, Lu Ming had made improvements to them by integrating the death law and other laws into them. It had become Lu Ming's unique divine power, and its power was even more shocking. Lu Ming was casting this kind of divine power. Boom! Lu Ming's palm and Lan Mo's fist collided with a deafening boom. A terrifying force shot out in all directions from the collision of their palms and fists. It hit the light shield but was blocked. Bang! Bang! Their bodies trembled, and they both took a dozen steps back. The ground they stepped on exploded. What? Everyone's eyes widened in shock. In the first move, Lu Ming managed to block the blue membrane's attack. The 2 of them were evenly matched. How was this possible? Lan Mo hasn't used his full strength yet. He's just testing the waters. A great emperor spoke. A great emperor was actually forced back by a true emperor. This was extremely embarrassing. Even the other great emperors felt ashamed. Within the light barrier, the blue membrane was furious. He had actually been forced back by a true emperor. A great emperor being forced back by a true emperor had never happened before. Lu Ming, you've successfully angered me. Kill! Lan Mo roared and pounced toward Lu Ming like a cannonball. He kept punching with both fists. Before his fists even reached Lu Ming, a terrifying pressure was already pressing down on him. That was the pressure of the Great Tao. Great emperors could control great Taos and borrow the power of great Taos to become shockingly powerful. The Great Tao was a profound meaning that was even stronger than laws. It was extremely powerful. Lu Ming was not afraid at all. He waved his palm to meet the attack. This time, there was one more law in Lu Ming's palm. There were 7 types of laws. Bang! Bang! The 2 of them clashed continuously, and in the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves. It was still difficult to determine the winner. The power of a great Tao is indeed amazing. In the middle of the battle, Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Lu Ming's current divine power contains 7 types of laws. However, under the bombardment of the other party's great Tao, it was in imminent danger. It felt as if it was going to be penetrated and torn apart. If not for the fact that Lu Ming's physical strength was extremely strong, and made up for this deficiency, He might not be able to fight against the other party. The two of them fought with speed, constantly colliding with each other. The terrifying force bombarded the light shield, causing it to shake violently. Damn it! Lan Emo roared angrily. He had made so many moves, but he could not take down Lu Ming. He felt that he had lost face. If he could not defeat Lu Ming today, he would definitely become a laughingstock among the great emperors. On the contrary, he had helped Lu Ming achieve his goal and raised his reputation. Roar! Suddenly, Lan Mo's body let out a deafening roar, and a giant lion appeared above his head. This was a golden lion with golden fur that shone with life. It was extraordinarily majestic. This wasn't a real lion, but a divine art formed from the great Tao. This lion was covered by the blue membrane, and the blue membrane was in the center of the lion, as if it had transformed into a golden lion. Roar! The golden lion roared and pounced at Lu Ming. You finally used your ultimate move? Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. At this moment, 9 different radiances emanated from Lu Ming's palm. He used all 9 types of laws. The power of this divine power technique was not any weaker than the infinite dragon spear. It was most suitable for close combat. Thus, Lu Ming's figure also rushed out. He struck out with his palm and the void was shattered, revealing a dark void. His palm seemed to pass through space and struck out. As for Lan Emo, he waved a lion's claw and clawed at Lu Ming. Bang! The two of them collided once again. This time, the boom was even more intense, and a terrifying force was triggered. However, the result was that the two of them were still evenly matched, and they were forced to retreat. Impossible! Lan Emo roared in disbelief. He had already used all his strength, but he could not take down Lu Ming. He was shocked. He roared in anger and charged at Lu Ming. The two of them fought fiercely. The people watching the battle outside the light barrier were equally stunned and shocked. Oh my god, Lu Ming can actually fight against Lan Emo and not be at a disadvantage at all. This is too terrifying. He's only a true emperor, but he's this strong. How is this possible? What's going on? He's also a true emperor, but the other true emperors can't even withstand a single blow from him. Many people couldn't believe it. A true emperor couldn't be a match for a great emperor. This was the truth. But now, the truth had been broken. As a true emperor, Lu Ming's cultivation base was no weaker than a great emperor's. Abnormal. As expected, he was an abnormal being who had become a saint emperor with many laws. He could not be measured with common sense. In the end, everyone could only comfort themselves like this. Chapter 2334. In the blink of an eye, the two exchanged dozens of moves, but it was still difficult to determine the winner. The great emperor is indeed extraordinary. The great Tao that Lan Emo comprehended should only be an ordinary great Tao, but it's so powerful. One wonder how powerful the strongest great Tao is. Lu Ming's mind was filled with all kinds of thoughts. There were 2 types of great Taos. In the true emperor realm, those who had not comprehended an ultimate law, and only evolved a great Tao from a king Tao law and ordinary laws were ordinary great Taos. As for those who comprehended the ultimate laws, they were great Taos evolved from one type of ultimate law, and all the other king Tao laws. They were called the ultimate great Tao. Among those of the same level, the strongest great Tao was much more powerful than ordinary great Taos. Lan Emo had only comprehended an ordinary great Tao, and was a 1-star great emperor. He was definitely considered weak among great emperors. If it was a 1-star great emperor, who had comprehended the strongest great Tao, Lu Ming would most likely be hard-pressed to defeat him. Then let's change our strategy. There was a flash in Lu Ming's eyes. He suddenly changed his offensive to a full-force attack, completely disregarding defense. This was a desperate fight. Lu Ming's attack changed and increased sharply, suppressing the blue film in an instant. Damn it, you don't care about defense. You think I'm afraid of you? Kill. Lan Emo roared. He also gave up on defense and attacked with all his might. Normally, when people fought against each other, they would reserve some of their strength for defense. Now that they were going all out to attack, both of them were instantly hit. Bang! Bang! Lan Mo's punch landed on Lu Ming's shoulder, and Lu Ming's palm also hit Lan Mo's shoulder. The two of them trembled and retreated. The difference was that there was a dent on Lu Ming's shoulder. However, not a single drop of blood flowed out. The wound was healing rapidly. As for Lan Mo, he was in a much worse state. It was as if his shoulder had been cut by a battle blade, almost chopping off one of his arms. A deep wound was revealed, and blood was flowing out. Even his bones had been shattered. Lan Mo's face was slightly pale. Although the great emperor's recovery ability was also extremely shocking, it could not be compared to Lu Ming's. Kill. Lu Ming did not give the blue membrane any time to recover, and launched another attack. Lan Mo was injured, and it was almost impossible for him to move one of his arms. His combat strength was greatly reduced, and he was at a complete disadvantage. He was no match for Lu Ming. Bang. Bang. Following that, Lan Mo was hit continuously by Lu Ming and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Although he managed to hit Lu Ming was not seriously injured and his combat strength was not affected. Indestructible ancient scroll. Lan Mo roared, extremely unwilling. He knew that Lu Ming had used the indestructible ancient scroll, and was not afraid of being injured. Bang. Lu Ming seized the opportunity and landed a palm on Lan Mo's face. Lan Mo screamed and his body was sent flying. Blood mixed with his teeth flew out and he hit the light shield. Lan Mo's brain was buzzing, he was completely stunned. Lu Ming would not let go of such an opportunity. He rushed over and punched and kicked Lan Mo's face and body. The blue membrane was like a sandbag. It was instantly bombarded by Lu Ming with dozens of moves. After a few dozen moves, the blue membrane flew out and fell to the ground. It was covered in blood and twitched nonstop. Hiss. Gasps of shock could be heard. Outside the light barrier, whether it was the Void Emperor, the True Emperor, or the Great Emperor, all of them were so shocked that their mouths were wide open. A great emperor had been defeated by a young true emperor. Furthermore, he had lost so badly. He had been madly abused. He had been abused so badly that even his mother couldn't recognize him. It was really tragic. Needless to say, Lan Mo would definitely become a laughingstock and Lu Ming's reputation would be pushed to the peak. A true emperor had defeated a great emperor. This had completely broken the truth and created a miracle. Haha, not bad. I've had a great time today. Lu Ming laughed. He had basically figured out his own combat strength. Of course, if he used the indestructible ancient scroll and fought with all his might, he would be able to suppress his opponent. He should be able to compete with a one-star great emperor, who had comprehended the most powerful great Tao. His main purpose in this battle was to test his abilities. Now that the test was over, Lu Ming decided to leave. Lan Mo's mind was initially clearer. However, after hearing Lu Ming's words, he was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. He roared and fainted. I'm dizzy. Lu Ming pursed his lips. He then took a step forward and left the light shield. When the others saw Lu Ming coming out, they automatically made way for him. This was an invisible force. Lu Ming was so young, but his combat strength had already entered the Great Emperor realm. In a few years he would be even more impressive and would definitely become an invincible overlord. Lu Ming left the place and returned to his residence. With a thought, his soul appeared in the small world. It appeared on a mountain peak and looked into the distance. The current small world had a radius of 600,000 miles, and was boundlessly vast. Moreover, Lu Ming had planted many spiritual and sacred herbs in the small world. He had also scattered the seeds of various plants. Now there were many places in the small world that were covered in green grass and flowers. There were also some small trees in some places. It was not very old yet, and there were no large trees. Similarly, there were no animals or demonic beasts. However, the small world was becoming more and more similar to the outside world. Lu Ming planned to let some animals, demonic beasts, and the like in the future. That way it would be no different from the outside world. Of course, although Lu Ming's cultivation level had improved very quickly, there was still a large area of territory that was deathly silent and lifeless. This required time for the vegetation in the small world to slowly multiply. With a thought, Lu Ming came to the Path Understanding Ancient Tree. The Path Understanding Ancient Tree had been planted on a plain. It was now 500 meters tall. This was all due to the five-colored soil. The 500-meter tall path understanding ancient tree shot up into the sky. Its trunk was extremely thick, and between its branches, there was a great Tao. Cultivating here would greatly increase the speed of comprehending nomological laws. With the ancient martial tree as the center, the plain was covered in green grass and fresh flowers. The fragrance of the flowers assailed the nose. It was mainly because of the five-colored soil that the vegetation in this area was particularly strong. There were also many spiritual and sacred medicines that smelled good. Lu Ming sat cross-legged under the path understanding ancient tree, cultivating quietly. The news that Lu Ming had defeated Lan Mo was spreading like wildfire. Everyone who heard the news was first shocked, then overjoyed, shocked, jealous, and angry. There were all kinds of expressions and emotions. Lu Ming had caused another wave in the vast land of the Taiqing heavenly region. 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, the Hongyu heavenly emperor came to Lu Ming's residence. The Hongyu heavenly emperor did not conceal his aura. Lu Ming sensed his arrival the moment he arrived. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and met with the Hongyu heavenly emperor. Senior Hongyu, may first know why you are looking for Lu Ming? Lu Ming said with a smile. Lu Ming, I heard that you defeated Lan Mo, so one came to take a look. Ha ha ha. You're really amazing. Even I was shocked. Heavenly Emperor Hongyu said with a smile. Chapter 2335. The Hongyu Heavenly Emperor was overjoyed. Lu Ming came from the primordial realm, and he had a deep relationship with Lu Ming. He was happier to see Lu Ming's achievements than to see him break through. Lu Ming, given your current combat strength, I'm afraid that the training in Two World City won't be very effective. Heavenly Emperor Hongyu said. I'm planning to cultivate for a while, and raise my cultivation to the peak of true emperor. Then I'll go to the battlefield of emperors to gain some experience. Lu Ming said. The battlefield of emperors? If we go now, I'm afraid it won't have much effect. Heavenly Emperor Hongyu said. No effect. Lu Ming was stunned. In the battlefield of great emperors, weren't there many great emperors from both sides fighting and tempering themselves? Now there's no one left in the battlefield of great emperors. The great emperors from both sides have gone to the Void God Island. Heavenly Emperor Hongyu said. Void God Island? Lu Ming was puzzled. This was the first time he heard this name. That's right. The Void God Island is a mysterious place that was discovered a few years ago. It's located in the eternal void, and contains countless treasures. Now many great sovereign realm figures have entered the Void God Island. Heavenly Emperor Hongyu explained. Even outsiders can enter? Lu Ming asked. That's right. That island is located in the void, and is eternally suspended. Both parties can reach it. It contains countless treasures, all kinds of heavenly materials and earthly treasures, chaos stones, primordial chaos stones, supreme grade rough stones, great Tao fragments, heavenly Tao marks, and even heavenly Tao soldiers. Heavenly Emperor Hongyu's eyes lit up with a fiery light as he spoke. We even have Heaven Tao soldiers. Lu Ming was also shocked. Heaven Tao soldiers were celestial emperor weapons, and they contained Heaven Tao. Once a figure in the Heavenly Emperor realm controlled a Heavenly Emperor weapon, and activated the power of the Heavenly Tao inside, the combat strength of a Heavenly Emperor would be greatly enhanced. However, Celestial Emperor weapons were extremely rare. Celestial Emperor weapons weren't like Great Sovereign weapons. Heavenly Sovereigns could forge Great Sovereign weapons, and even some powerful Great Sovereigns could. However, the Celestial Varch himself was unable to create the Heaven Tao soldiers. The Celestial Varch could only borrow the power of the Heavenly Tao. It was impossible for him to forge a weapon that contained the Heavenly Tao. Celestial Emperor weapons could only be forged by supreme powerhouses who had surpassed the Celestial Emperor realm. In addition, some Celestial Emperor weapons that contained the Heavenly Tao could also be nurtured in nature, but the number was extremely small. In fact, most of the Celestial Emperors still used Emperor-level weapons. Once a Celestial Emperor controlled a Celestial Emperor weapon, his combat strength would skyrocket. As such, the price of a Celestial Emperor weapon was astonishingly high. Lu Ming did not expect that the Void Island actually contained a Celestial Varch weapon. That's right, and there's definitely a lot of them. In the past few years, some people have already brought out Celestial Emperor weapons, which caused a sensation. The fire in Heavenly Emperor Hung Ye's eyes became even more intense. He didn't have a Celestial Tharch weapon. For example, the Celestial Thearch's sword in Lu Ming's hand was not a Celestial Tharch weapon. It was only a Great Emperor weapon, and did not contain the Heavenly Tao. Wouldn't even the Celestial Emperors be envious of such a treasure land? What's the point of a Great Emperor entering? Lu Ming was puzzled. The Void God Island contains a shocking pressure that can suppress the Heavenly Tao. Heavenly Emperors can't enter at all. Only those below the Heavenly Emperor level can enter. Therefore, it's the most suitable for a great sovereign to enter. Heavenly Emperor Hengyu said. What? It can even suppress the Heavenly Tao. Lu Ming's eyes widened in shock. In this world, what was the highest? It was the Heavenly Tao. The Heavenly Tao controlled all things in the world. And all things in the world existed, and evolved under the operation of the Heavenly Tao. The Celestial Tharch was at the peak of martial arts, but he could only borrow the power of the Heavenly Tao. Now that Lu Ming heard that there was a pressure that could suppress the Heavenly Tao, he was naturally shocked. Could he be at the level of the Ancestral Dragon? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and he thought of the Ancestor Dragon. Dandan had once said that the Ancestral Dragon's realm had surpassed the Celestial Emperors and reached a completely different realm, a supreme realm. Many people speculated that the Void God Island was a ritual ground of a supreme figure in the distant past, floating in the eternal void. That figure had already transcended the heavenly path, and even the heavenly path was suppressed by him. That's why he had such a terrifying might. This also explains why there are so many Celestial Tharch weapons on the island. A person like that can definitely forge a Celestial Tharch weapon. Heavenly Emperor Hengyu explained. Lu Ming was deeply shocked. It was hard to imagine what kind of treasures would appear in such a place. I'm here to ask you if you'd like to go to the Void God Island. However, it's very dangerous. There are already some dangerous places on the island, and with the great emperors of the alien races and the heaven realm, it's very dangerous. If you don't want to go, you can just cultivate in Two World City. Heavenly Emperor Hengyu said. Oh go. Lu Ming immediately nodded, his eyes determined. Lu Ming would definitely not miss such a treasure trove. There were all sorts of heavenly materials and earthly treasures on it, such as chaos stones, primordial chaos stones, great Tao fragments, and so on. These would definitely be of help to Lu Ming's cultivation. Moreover, training on it and fighting in life and death situations would be even more beneficial to Lu Ming. If he wanted to catch up to or even surpass Xian Yanqing, he couldn't cultivate normally. He had to take risks. Alright, 111 make the arrangements for you. However, you have to remember one thing. On the Void God Island, there are times when danger will come from the people of the Heaven Realm. There are no restrictions when it comes to snatching treasures there, and people on your side will also attack people on your side. Heavenly Emperor Hengyu said. Lu Ming nodded. He had experienced so much. He was naturally clear about this. During this period of time, try your best to increase your strength. I will inform you after I have made the arrangements. Heavenly Emperor Hengyu left after he finished speaking. As for Lu Ming, he returned to his residence and thought about the direction of his cultivation. Next, Lu Ming planned to raise his cultivation level to 7-star True Emperor. This was the fastest way to increase his combat strength. Once his cultivation reached 7-star True Emperor, he could try to break through to Great Emperor Realm. However, Lu Ming did not plan to break through to the Great Emperor Realm so soon. Once he broke through to the Great Emperor Realm, his Great Tao would be fixed. It would be difficult to integrate more laws. Lu Ming was ambitious. He wanted to successfully cultivate all 10 ultimate maxims to the third realm, and then break through to the Great Emperor Realm. If that happened, he did not know what level his Great Tao would reach. This was something that ordinary people did not even dare to think about. However, Lu Ming was completely capable of doing it. After thinking for a while, Lu Ming took out a few pieces of the world core and started to refine it to increase his world energy. He had refined all the chaos gems in his possession. Now he could only refine the world core and Aurirox to increase his world power. The speed was naturally much slower. However, Lu Ming's cultivation base was already at the limit of a 6-star true emperor. He was only one step away from becoming a 7-star true emperor. It was not difficult for him to make a breakthrough. Lu Ming spent a month's time and finally broke through the bottleneck. He raised his cultivation level to 7-star true emperor. Lu Ming's combat strength had undoubtedly become stronger. Chapter 2336. Lu Ming continued to consolidate his cultivation. A few days later, the Hongyu Heavenly Emperor arrived. Everything has been arranged and we can set off immediately. Not long after, the Hongyu Heavenly Emperor brought Lu Ming along as they tore through space and rushed to a place. An hour later, Lu Ming and the group appeared on a boundless ocean. This sea was an inland sea of the Taiqing Heavenly region. It was vast and boundless. At this moment, there were already some people waiting. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the crowd. Apart from the Hongyu Heavenly Emperor, there were 3 other Heavenly Emperors. In addition to the 3 Heavenly Emperors, there were 5 other Great Emperors. Among the 5 Great Emperors, there were elders and middle-aged men. 2 of them caught Lu Ming's attention, because the 2 of them looked exactly the same. It was obvious that they were twins. The twin brothers had both reached the Great Emperor realm. This was extremely rare. It was obvious that these Great Emperors were also heading to the Void God Island. Lu Ming's eyes swept across the sea again. Up ahead, there was a space that was extremely unstable. It was constantly twisting, and spatial cracks would occasionally appear. This was the spatial tunnel that led to the Void God Island. On the way here, the Hongyu Heavenly Emperor had already told Lu Ming about the spatial passageway in detail. In fact, Two World City was not the only way to come to the Taiqing Heavenly region from other heavenly regions. There were 2 other passages from another battlefield. There were also other hidden void passages that could lead to other heavenly regions. Some could even lead to other worlds, such as the evil god world. However, these passages were usually extremely small, unstable, and chaotic. Usually, only one person could pass through at a time, and a little more than that could fit 2 or 3 people. Any more than that would not do. Furthermore, these passageways were extremely chaotic and dangerous. Even great emperors could get lost in them. Only the celestial Varch could pass through safely. At the entrance of these passages, on the side of the heaven realm, there were naturally terrifying experts guarding it. Although there was nothing in the surroundings except for them, Lu Ming was sure that there was a terrifying powerhouse guarding this area. Once a foreign tribe powerhouse crossed the passage, he would be killed. Moreover, this kind of passage usually only allowed 1, 2 or 3 people to pass through. If the alien races dared to come over, they would be surrounded and killed by the masters of the heaven realm. In fact, there were several such passages in the Taiqing Heavenly region, and they were all guarded by experts to prevent foreign tribe experts from breaking in. Lu Ming. Everyone's eyes were on Lu Ming, full of surprise. He did not expect that Lu Ming would also want to enter the Void God Island. As people of the Heaven Realm, I hope that you can help each other when you enter the Void God Island, one of the celestial thearchs said as he looked at Lu Ming and the rest. Naturally. Definitely. The great emperors nodded one after another. Lu Ming nodded as well. It's almost time, let's go. Another great emperor said. With a wave of his hand, a wave of energy enveloped the twin brothers. At this moment, the space above the sea twisted and a spatial crack appeared. The heavenly emperor's figure moved, and he rushed into the spatial crack with the twin brothers, disappearing from sight. This passageway could only allow 3 people to travel at a time. The others waited quietly. After a while, another celestial emperor led 2 people into a spatial rift. The third group was a celestial emperor, and he led a woman in a palace dress into a spatial rift. Only the Hongyu Heavenly Emperor and Lu Ming were left at the scene. They waited for a moment. Lu Ming, let's go. The Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor waved his hand, and a wave of energy enveloped Lu Ming. In a flash, he brought Lu Ming into a spatial rift. As soon as they entered the spatial rift, endless spatial storms swept toward them. The Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor ignored them and rushed into the spatial storm. Soon, they passed through the spatial storm and arrived at a small void passageway. This void passage was extremely small, and it could only allow 3 people to walk in at most. It was surrounded by chaos and darkness, and a powerful pressure was pressing down on them. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu brought Lu Ming along at an astonishing speed. They flew past the void around them. After an unknown amount of time, the path ahead suddenly became a dead end, turning into darkness. The void passage was broken. The Hung Yu Heavenly Emperor brought Lu Ming to a stop. He closed his eyes and sensed carefully. Suddenly, the Hung Yu Heavenly Emperor brought Lu Ming to the right and broke through the darkness. After a while, they arrived at another void passageway. Only the powerhouses of the Heavenly Emperor realm could sense it and find the right path. If it were an ordinary person, even a great emperor, he would probably be lost in the dark void. If he was unlucky, he would never be able to get out and would be forever wandering in the dark void. Just like that, he walked and stopped. A few days passed. Suddenly, a bright light came from the front. In the eternally silent dark void, there was actually a glow. Lu Ming was slightly shocked. At the same time, he knew that he was about to reach his destination. Sure enough, in the next moment, they entered the void tunnel and came to a vacuum area. Yes, this area seemed to have been forcibly opened up in the dark void by someone. There was no spatial storm in this area, as if it was the sky outside. This area was shockingly large. In the center of this area, there was an island floating. From a distance, there seemed to be a sun hanging in the sky directly above the island. The light was scattered down from that sun. The celestial Dharch, the twin brothers, and the others who had entered earlier were all waiting there. When they saw the Hung Yu celestial Dharch and Lu Ming, they nodded and flew toward the island. This area was extremely vast and shockingly large. With the speed of the Heavenly Emperor realm, it took them quite a long time to fly there. When they got close to the island, they realized that the island was shockingly large. It was not an island, but a continent. This Void God Island is extremely vast. Some people have estimated that it might be 1/10 the size of the Taiching Heavenly region. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu said. The others were secretly shocked. It was 1/10 the size of the Taiching Heavenly region. This was only a human Taoist Rite temple, but it was really a big deal. However, when they were a certain distance away from the island, the Hung Yu Heavenly Emperor and the others stopped. We can't go any further. We'll be suppressed by that pressure. Next, you can go on your own. A Heavenly Emperor said. With your cultivations, don't go too deep into the island. You can move around in the periphery of the island, because many high-level great emperors have gone into the depths of the island. Another advanced Heavenly Emperor. Everyone nodded their heads before flying towards the Void God Island by themselves. Senior, farewell. Lu Ming bade farewell to the Hung Yu Heavenly Emperor. Lu Ming, be careful. The Hung Yu Heavenly Emperor said solemnly. Lu Ming nodded, then turned and flew toward the Void God Island. Chapter 2337. The group of 6 flew towards the Void God Island. The closer they got to the island, the more they felt how vast it was. It was 1/10 the size of the Taiching Heavenly region. It was too vast. There were endless mountains, endless plains, rivers, and lakes. As they neared the edge of the island, they could feel a terrifying pressure pressing down on them. It was as if they were carrying an endless weight on their bodies. They couldn't help but fall down at an extremely fast speed. The 6 people's expressions changed. They circulated their world force with all their might and slowly stabilized themselves. Lu Ming used the world force. At the same time, his muscles were constantly vibrating the air to stabilize himself. Otherwise, he would have fallen directly. What a terrifying pressure. The 6 people's faces were all very ugly. Although the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor and the others had warned them that the pressure here was astonishing, they were still shocked when they actually felt it. Among the 6 of them, 5 of them were great sovereigns. Lu Ming also had the combat strength of a great sovereign. With their cultivation base, they were almost unable to fly due to the pressure. One could only imagine how terrifying the pressure was. If a true emperor were here, they wouldn't even be able to fly. They would be crushed by this pressure and fall to their deaths. This pressure, this aura. The more the 6 sensed, the more shocked they were. This pressure and aura seemed to be even higher than the heavenly Tao. It seemed to transcend everything and dominate everything. Even the heavenly Tao would be suppressed by this aura. It was as if there was a supreme being in the center of the island that was emitting an aura that suppressed the universe. However, a few years ago, someone had already set foot on this island. In these few years, everyone speculated that this island had been left behind for who knew how many years. The owner of the island had left long ago. The aura on the island should be the aura left behind by the island's owner when he preached here and went into seclusion. At the thought of this, Ming and the rest were even more shocked. However, the aura that was left behind was still so terrifying even after so many years. Even the heavenly emperor couldn't enter. After stabilizing their bodies, they slowly descended to the ground. Soon, they were only tens of thousands of meters above the ground. What's that? Suddenly, someone looked forward. There, a dark cloud was flying towards them at an astonishing speed. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Following that, ear-piercing screeches could be heard. Not good, it's crows, all crows. Someone exclaimed. Let's go. Their expressions changed. They turned around and quickly rushed down. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The flock of crows covered the sky and the sun. It was unknown how many of them there were. Each one of them gave off a terrifying aura. Among them, there were true Emperor Realm and empty Emperor Realm. The key was that there were too many of them, so they could only retreat. However, the crows were also very fast, and they were quickly closing in. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, a black stream of light shot toward Ming and the others from below. These black streams of light were all crows. They were black all over and were the size of a head. They looked as if they were cast from black iron. Why are we so unlucky? We've just entered and we've already encountered such a crow. One of them roared. According to what they knew, there were some terrifying strange beasts living on the island, and these crows were one of them. They were extremely terrifying and formed groups. Some people were unlucky and encountered these crows the moment they landed. It was extremely dangerous, and many people died in their mouths. However, the Void God Island was so vast, and the chances of encountering one were not very high. One could only say that their luck was too bad. Kill our way out. Ming shouted, and a long spear condensed in his hand, shining with 9 colors of radiance. Whoosh! 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 The long spear burst out and turned into a spear light, clashing with the crows. The spear radiance was extremely sharp. Each of the spear radiance could penetrate a crow. The others also made their moves. Of the other 6, only one was a 1-star Great Emperor. Of the other 4, 3 were 2-star Great Emperors, and 1 was a 3-star Great Emperor. Their attack power was much stronger than Ming's. As soon as the 6 of them attacked, a large number of crows were killed, and their corpses fell to the ground. However, there were too many crows, and they kept charging from below. The flock of crows in the distance had also rushed over. There were too many of them. Ming and the group were suddenly surrounded by the crows. Let's join forces and kill our way out. The 3-star Great Emperor was a middle-aged man with amazing combat strength. He held a battle axe in his hand, and each time he swung it, a tens of thousands of meters long axe light would be sent out, killing a large number of crows. The Void Emperor, the crow of the true Emperor Realm, could not stop him at all. With him as the leader and the others as support, they worked together and instantly tore a path out of the crows, continuously charging out. Buzz! At this time, an ear-piercing sound was heard, and a fiery red light pounced toward the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man struck out with his axe and collided with the fiery red light. A violent explosion was heard and the fiery red light was sent flying. It was a fiery red crow. Its feathers were bright red, like burning flames. The crow was shockingly strong. It was struck by the middle-aged man's axe, but it didn't die. This was a Great Emperor-level crow. Buzz! And NBSB whoosh! Ear-piercing sounds rang out continuously. Everyone saw fiery red light flash continuously among the crows. They were all fiery red crows, and there were more than a dozen of them. They were all Great Emperor Realm crows. The 6 people's faces changed. There were more than a dozen Great Emperor crows. This kind of strength was too shocking. Charge, quickly charge. Someone roared. They erupted with all their strength. At this moment, no one was hiding anything. They used all their strength and continuously attacked, wanting to rush out. However, the dozen or so fire-red crows were already approaching at an astonishing speed. Buzz, buzz. An ear-piercing sound resounded through the firmament. They flapped their wings as fast as lightning, and their claws were indestructible as they pounced toward Lu Ming and the others. Get lost! Lu Ming shook his long spear and swept it out, colliding with a fiery red crow. Buzz! The long spear trembled continuously, and a terrifying force surged along the long spear. Lu Ming's body trembled, and he took a few steps back. The long spear that was condensed from the world's energy, and the laws was almost scattered. What powerful strength! Lu Ming was secretly shocked. The crow was only sent flying by Lu Ming's attack, but it was not injured. Its eyes glowed coldly as it flapped its wings and pounced at Lu Ming again. The other 5 were also in a tough battle. Even the weakest of these crows had the battle prowess of a 1-star great emperor, and the strongest was no weaker than the middle-aged man. The 6 of them were caught in a bitter battle. Chapter 2338. More than a dozen fiery red crows were covered in terrifying flames. Their temperature was astonishingly high, like more than a dozen small suns. They kept pouncing at Lu Ming's group of 6 at an astonishing speed, and with terrifying power. Lu Ming's group of 6 tried their best to resist, but they were still in a precarious situation. Buzz! Buzz! At this moment, there were 2 fiery red crows attacking Lu Ming. Lu Ming exerted all his strength and did not hold back at all. The long spear in his hand was constantly thrust out. Boom! Boom! The sharp claws of the 2 fire-red crows collided with Lu Ming's long spear. The long spear trembled continuously, and Lu Ming's body trembled violently as he retreated continuously. The 2 fiery red crows had the combat strength of a 1-star great emperor. If there was only one, Lu Ming could still deal with it. However, with 2 of them, Lu Ming was at a disadvantage. His arms were numb from the shock. Fight! Lu Ming's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. He circulated the indestructible ancient scroll, and fought the 2 fiery red crows. With the indestructible ancient scroll's terrifying defense and recovery ability, Lu Ming could still resist. But the others were in danger. The other 1-star great emperor realm old man was caught by one of the crows. A piece of his flesh was torn off and a deep wound appeared on his body. Blood flowed out from the wound, causing his face to turn pale and his aura to weaken. The others were also surrounded by danger, and could not even take care of themselves. Charge out! Let's go! Someone shouted. They rushed down with all their might, trying to reach the ground and use the complicated terrain to get rid of the crows. However, there were too many crows. There were more than 10 fiery red crows, all of which were at the Great Emperor realm. Crows below the Great Emperor realm formed groups and attacked continuously. To Lu Ming and the rest, they were a huge problem. Therefore, they couldn't get out at all. Bang! Another person was hit by a fiery red crow's wing, and was almost cut in half at the waist. It was extremely dangerous. Everyone in such a situation, let's each take care of our own matters. At this moment, the middle-aged man suddenly spoke, causing the others' expressions to change. What do you want to do? An old man shouted with an ugly expression. Boom! At this moment, the middle-aged man attacked with all his might. The middle-aged man was a 3-star great emperor, and he was the strongest among them. At this moment, he had knocked back a fiery red crow that was as powerful as a 3-star great emperor with one move. He seized the opportunity and rushed to the side. He wanted to escape alone. If he stayed behind with Lu Ming and the rest, he would only be exhausted to death by so many crows. However, with his strength, if he were to escape alone, a 3-star great emperor crow would not be able to hold him back. Damn it! The others roared in anger. If this middle-aged burly man were to escape, and the 3-star great emperor crow attacked them, they would be in real danger. They might all die here. Buzz! And MBSB whoosh! The crows screeched, and several fiery red crows surrounded the middle-aged man. However, The only thing that could really pose a threat to him was the 3-star Great Emperor Crow. Therefore, under the desperate attack of the middle-aged man, a few crows were sent flying. After paying a little injury, he forcibly rushed out. The middle-aged burly man turned into a streak of light and sped away. The others' hearts began to turn cold. Without the middle-aged man, they would be finished. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. Could it be that he was going to use the Celestial Emperor corporeal body now? Over the years, Lu Ming had given most of the black crystals that he had obtained from the alien races to the Celestial Thearch's body to absorb. The energy stored in the Celestial Thearch's body was extremely abundant. If he were to use the Celestial Thearch's corporeal body, he would have no problem killing these crows. However, Lu Ming had initially planned to keep the Celestial Thearch's body and use it when he entered the Void Island. A large number of Great Emperor experts had gathered on the island. There were people from both the Heaven Realm and the alien race. There were even quite a few peak Great Emperors. In addition to the dangers of the Void Island itself, Lu Ming planned to keep the Celestial Thearch's body and use it when he encountered danger. It would be a pity to use it before entering the Void God Island. But now, it seemed that he had no choice but to use it. Just as Lu Ming was thinking about this, a series of shrill screams rang out in the distance. Buzz. It was the same crow's cry, but this cry had the power to pierce through gold and crack rocks, as if it could tear space apart. In the distance, a group of fiery red crows appeared. Yes, it was a group of about 20 of them. They were all fire-red crows and all of them were at the Great Emperor realm. Some of them had terrifying auras that were even stronger than the 3-star Great Emperor's crow. High-tier Great Emperors were above 3-star Great Emperors. Other than Lu Ming, everyone's faces turned pale. They were already in a desperate situation. And now a group of even more terrifying crows had appeared. It was simply a dead end. The dozen or so crows that came from behind all rushed towards the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man's face was pale and bloodless. Run! He roared, and his body emitted a brilliant light. His speed increased explosively as he tried to escape. He was burning his life potential, causing his strength to increase by a large margin. However, those crows were too terrifying. A few of them were extremely powerful. With a flap of their wings, they chased after the middle-aged man like red lightning. Not long after, the middle-aged man was caught up. Chi-Chi, a crow as large as a mountain, with its sharp claws, clawed at the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man roared and exploded with all his power. He used his strongest move in an attempt to block it, but his attack was torn apart by the crow's sharp claws, directly tearing half of his body off. The middle-aged man screamed in pain and retreated. He let out a desperate roar. Following that, the other terrifying crows had already arrived. The middle-aged man was unable to turn the situation around. Under the attack of the terrifying crows, his body was torn apart and then swallowed by them. The middle-aged man wanted to escape alone, but he was the first to die. The others were not happy that the middle-aged man had been killed. At this time, they only felt despair. We're finished. Someone growled. Now that the middle-aged man was dead, it was their turn. Lu Ming, what a pity. An old man looked at Lu Ming with a face full of pity. Lu Ming was so young and so talented. His future achievements were limitless. It was very likely that he would become an invincible powerhouse in the Heaven Realm. It was a pity that he was going to die here. Even if one die, oh, kill a few. Another person shouted, planning to fight with his life on the line. Buzz. And MBSP whoosh. At that moment, the fiery red crow that had killed the middle-aged man had its eyes on Lu Ming and the rest. It flapped its wings and flew towards them at top speed. Its blood-red eyes were filled with cold killing intent. It seems like I can only use the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, Lu Ming muttered. Then, a small stone statue appeared in his palm. The stone statue rapidly grew in size, and it held a huge sword in its hand. Chapter 2339. The stone statue quickly grew to the size of a mountain. Lu Ming took a step forward, and his body merged with the stone statue. Buzz. The sound of the sword reverberated through the sky. A stone sword burst out with dazzling sword chi and slashed out. The 2 fire-red crows that were surrounding Lu Ming were cut into 2 by the stone sword. The 2 one-star Great Emperor crows were killed instantly. In the past 5 years, the celestial thearch's body had absorbed a large amount of energy, but Lu Ming had not used it. Now the energy stored in the celestial thearch's body had reached 80%. The power of 80% of the energy was already extremely terrifying. Lu Ming speculated that if the energy stored in the celestial thearch's body reached 100%, it would be enough to compete with a peak Great Emperor. Therefore, when the stored energy reached 80%, it was enough to kill an ordinary 5-star Great Emperor. Kill! Lu Ming shouted and controlled the celestial thearch's physical body. Rich energy exploded, and the celestial thearch's sword seemed to be indestructible. The sword held unceasingly, and the ear-piercing sound of sword chi cut through the void. A few more crows were killed one after another, and even the 2-star Great Emperor crow was killed in an instant. This lightened the pressure on the others, and they revealed looks of ecstasy. They did not expect Lu Ming to have such a treasure. They immediately looked hopeful. Buzz. And MBSB whoosh. When the other crows saw Lu Ming cutting down a few of the fiery red crows, they immediately let out sharp cries and launched various attacks at Lu Ming and the rest. The 20 or so terrifying crows behind them also approached Lu Ming, and the rest rapidly. From a distance, they flapped their wings, and their feathers were like sharp swords shooting at them. Lu Ming slashed with his sword. The sword ray cut through the void and blocked all the feathers. Charge out! Lu Ming shouted and took the lead to rush down, the others following closely behind. The fire-red crows didn't give up and continued to chase. There were more than 30 fiery red crows coming from behind and in front. They attacked Lu Ming, and the rest with all kinds of attacks. Lu Ming could only turn around and block the attacks. Kill! Then, Lu Ming charged into the crows alone. Instead of wasting energy blocking the crows' attacks, it was better to kill them all. Lu Ming waved his sword and the sword aura was indestructible. In an instant, 5 fiery red crows were killed. Buzz! The remaining crows screeched, as if they were extremely furious. A few of the strongest crows pounced at Lu Ming. Lu Ming swung his sword and a violent boom erupted. He exchanged a blow with the few strongest crows. A few crows were sent flying by Lu Ming. 3 4-star Great Emperors and 1 5-star Great Emperor. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Through the exchange of moves, Lu Ming could roughly judge the combat strength of the few crows. 3 4-star Great Emperors and 1 5-star Great Emperor. This was definitely a terrifying force. Buzz! 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 The few crows retreated and charged at Lu Ming again. Then I'll kill you all. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. The rich energy in the celestial thearch's body burst out and rushed toward the crows. Lu Ming completely ignored his own defense and attacked with all his might. Boom, boom, boom. The attacks landed on Celestial Emperor's body, but they only left shallow marks on it. After all, the Heavenly Emperor's corporeal body was left behind by a Heavenly Emperor realm expert. It was extremely strong, and even a peak Great Emperor would find it difficult to break it. 4-star Great Emperor and 5-star Great Emperor naturally couldn't break it. As for the other crows, it was even more difficult for them to leave even a trace. Lu Ming did not care about defense and focused on killing. He slashed with his combat sword with all his might, cutting off one of the wings of a 4-star Great Emperor realm crow. On the other hand, a 2-star Great Emperor realm crow was swept by the sword light and was cut in half, its feathers flying everywhere. The 4-star Great Emperor crow cried out in pain. Its blood splattered in the air as it retreated. How could Lu Ming let the other party off? He chased after him with all his might. The other crow's attacks landed on Lu Ming's body continuously, and exploded with dong 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 sounds. However, it could only slow down Lu Ming's speed slightly. Lu Ming forced himself to rush over and slash with his sword, beheading the crow. The soul in the skull was also destroyed by Lu Ming. With a flash of light, Lu Ming kept the crow's corpse into his small world. A Great Emperor crow's entire body was a treasure. Its value was shocking, and he couldn't waste it. After killing a 4-star Great Emperor, Lu Ming turned around and targeted the other crows, killing them at top speed. Anyone below the 4-star Great Emperor level could not withstand Lu Ming's sword at all. They were killed by Lu Ming and their corpses were kept in his small world. Buzz. Not long after, another wail was heard. Another 4-star Great Emperor Realm Crow was killed by Lu Ming. In total, Lu Ming had already killed more than 10 fiery red crows. However, there were still about 20 of them left. After Lu Ming killed many of their comrades, the crows became even more frenzied. Those below the Great Emperor level pounced at Lu Ming without any regard for their lives. Although these crows couldn't break through the defenses of Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, they could continuously drain the corporeal Bodis energy. This can't go on. I have to kill the strongest crows first. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. The Celestial Thearch's body had stored 80% of its energy. Although it was extremely powerful, it was still being consumed at an alarming rate as it fought against the Great Emperor realm beings, and the crows attacked it. If this continued, it wouldn't be long before the energy in the Celestial Thearch's corporeal body was completely exhausted. If the energy of the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body was used up while the 3, 4 and 5-star Great Emperors were still alive, they would be in danger. Therefore, before the energy of Celestial Emperor's corporeal body was exhausted, he had to kill some of the strongest existences on the other side. At that moment, Lu Ming ignored the other crows and set his sights on the existence above 3-star Great Emperor. Blood splattered everywhere and dyed the sky red. 2 3-star Great Emperor fiery red crows were killed by Lu Ming. This way, there were only 2 fire red crows above the 3-star Great Emperor level. One was a 4-star and the other was a 5-star. Lu Ming put all his effort into dealing with these 2. Buzz. 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 Lu Ming waved his sword crazily and attacked the 2 crows. Terrifying rumbles and continuous explosions were heard. The sky was smashed into pieces. The scorching temperature wanted to burn everything, including the space. After more than 10 moves, the 4-star crow was finally killed by Lu Ming. All of a sudden, only the 5-star Great Emperor crow was left. Kill. Lu Ming ignored the other attacks and charged at the crow crazily. This crow was as large as a mountain and had extremely powerful combat strength. Its sharp claws and wings were all-conquering and extremely terrifying. However, Lu Ming happened to be its nemesis. He did not need to be afraid of its attacks. His combat sword continued to slash at its vital points. Lu Ming had the upper hand. Chapter 2340. At this time, the twin brothers and 2 other people, a total of 4 people, had long rushed to the ground and were running wildly. It's not good for us to leave Lu Ming alone, an old man said with a worried expression. What's not good about it? Lu Ming's puppet is shockingly powerful. In my opinion, it's even stronger than a 5-star Great Emperor. He can protect himself. If we stay, we'll only be a hindrance to him. One of the twins said. That's right. Let's leave first so that Lu Ming can fight with all his might. We can't help much even if we stay, the other of the twin brothers said. The old man sighed. He knew that what the twin brothers said made sense. Then, the few of them took advantage of the terrain below and quickly left this place. High up in the sky, Lu Ming and the 5-stars Great Emperor Realm Fiery Red Crow had already turned into white heat from the battle. Lu Ming did not care about defense and completely suppressed the crow. They exchanged dozens of moves and the crow was already covered in blood. One of its wings was almost cut off by Lu Ming, leaving only a thread hanging on it. At the same time, his chest was also stabbed by Lu Ming and blood was flowing out. With only one wing left, the crow's speed was greatly reduced. It was no match for Lu Ming and could not even retreat. Bang! Lu Ming took a blow from the other party. His body swayed slightly, then he backhanded and stabbed with his sword. This sword had pierced through the other party's heart. Buzz. The other party wailed and struggled violently. Its entire body was covered in fiery red flames that surged toward Lu Ming. However, it had no effect on the Celestial Thearch's physical body. Dia! Lu Ming bellowed. Energy exploded wildly. The Celestial Emperor sword trembled continuously, and sword chi whizzed out. Bang! Lu Ming slashed horizontally and finally split the crow's body into 2. Its soul was also annihilated by this attack. The 5-star Great Emperor Crow had fallen. Not good. I've consumed too much energy. At this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed. He had already used up a lot of energy to kill so many fiery red crows, and the amount of energy he had used to fight this 5-star Great Emperor was even more terrifying. Now Lu Ming felt that the energy in the Celestial Thearch's physical body was about to be exhausted. He had no more energy to continue killing the remaining crows. A ray of light emanated from Lu Ming's body and enveloped the crow's corpse. He then kept the crow's corpse into his small world. Then, Lu Ming dashed in the direction of the ground at top speed. The crows that blocked his way were killed one by one. Lu Ming had successfully broken out of the encirclement. However, at this moment, the Celestial Thearch's body trembled and shrank rapidly. Lu Ming's body flew out of the Celestial Thearch's body. The energy in Celestial Emperor's corporeal body had been completely exhausted. Lu Ming put away the Celestial Thearch's physical body and fled frantically. When the crows saw Lu Ming put away the Celestial Thearch's corporeal body, they let out ear-piercing cries and chased after him. Among them, there were more than a dozen Great Emperor Fire Red Crows. Many of them were even 2-star Great Emperor Crows. If Lu Ming was surrounded, he would be in great danger. Lu Ming spread his 6-feathered divine wings and flew into the distance at top speed. The crows were chasing after him at top speed. The two sides, one running and one chasing, crossed a long distance. The crows bit Lu Ming's tail, but he was extremely fast when he used his 6-feathered wings. Only the Great Emperor Crows could barely keep up with him. Not long after, a boundless desert appeared in front of them. The ground was covered in fine golden sand, and there were waves of heat coming from far away. Lu Ming dashed into the desert area. The strange thing was that after Lu Ming rushed into the desert area, the crows actually stopped. They wandered around for a while, and then left one after another. This made Lu Ming very curious. These crows aren't going to enter the desert. Is it because of the area they're in? Or is there something terrifying in the desert that makes them afraid? Lu Ming's mind was filled with thoughts. He did not dare to be careless. He cast the Divine Breath technique and completely concealed his aura. Then Lu Ming headed deeper into the desert. This desert was filled with fine golden sand. It stretched as far as the eye could see, and the temperature was shockingly high. The temperature here did not come from the sun in the sky, but from underground. Under the ground, the temperature was constantly rising, and the heat was unbearable. In addition to the pressure from the heaven and earth, if a true emperor were here, he would definitely not be able to withstand it or resist it. However, it was still fine for Lu Ming. Lu Ming walked for a while, and realized that the desert was dead silent. There was no vegetation or living creatures. Other than fine sand, there was still fine sand. Fortunately, there was always a sun hanging in the sky above the center of this island. This sun would never change its position, so it could be used as a basis for determining the direction. As long as he walked towards the sun, he would be walking towards the center of the island. Lu Ming had been walking in the desert for 3 days. There was nothing unusual or dangerous. A plant. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw a plant in front of him. It had been 3 days since he entered the desert. This was the first time Lu Ming saw a plant. There were still plants in such a high temperature. Lu Ming was interested and flew over. It was a purple plant that was sparkling and resplendent, and its medicinal fragrance assailed the nostrils. Emperor's medicine. Without a doubt, this was an emperor's medicine. However, Lu Ming was more interested in the root of the emperor's medicine. There was a small pond there. There was some liquid in it that emitted a shocking energy essence. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He knew that this emperor's medicine was nurtured by the liquid in this small pool. This liquid was very valuable. This liquid contains a powerful life essence. Even in such a dangerous place, it can produce an emperor's medicine. It's extraordinary. I need this spiritual liquid to cultivate the 7 gods' mysterious technique, or it'll be difficult for me to break through. Lu Ming pondered. At present, there was not much energy left in the drop of ancestral dragon blood in his heart. If he wanted to break through his physical body and cultivate the 5th level of the 7 gods' mysterious technique, the remaining ancestral dragon blood was not enough. He needed other energy. Of course, sacred medicine and emperor's medicine could also assist in the cultivation of the body. However, given Lu Ming's current realm, he would need an extremely high-level emperor's medicine to be effective. Lu Ming carefully dug out the emperor's medicine and planted it in his small world. He then took out a jade bottle and collected all the liquid in the small pool. This liquid is enough for me to cultivate for a while. I'll find a place to refine this liquid and see if one can break through to the 5th level of the 7 gods' mysterious technique. Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. At the moment, he did not plan to break through to the great emperor realm so quickly in his law system. He wanted to completely comprehend all the other ultimate laws before breaking through. If he wanted to increase his combat power quickly, he could only cultivate an immemorial body cultivator and break through his physical body. Chapter 2341. Once his 7 gods' mysterious technique broke through to the 5th stage, Lu Ming's physical strength alone would be comparable to a great emperor. His combat strength would definitely increase tremendously. Lu Ming moved and left the place. Tens of thousands of miles away, Lu Ming rushed into the desert. He went 100 miles deep into the desert, and then entered the mountain and river diagram. After entering the mountain and river diagram, Lu Ming immediately took out the liquid that he had obtained previously, and started to refine it. The liquid contained a huge amount of life essence. Lu Ming circulated the 7 gods' mysterious technique to absorb the life essence and strengthen his body. Buzz. All the muscles and bones in Lu Ming's body were shaking violently. In an instant they shook hundreds of millions of times. The vibration produced a terrifying energy that absorbed the essence of the spirit liquid. It seeped into his muscles, bones, internal organs, blood cells, and every tiny corner of his body, strengthening Lu Ming's physical strength. Half a month later, Lu Ming had refined and absorbed all the spirit liquid. However, his 7 gods' mysterious skill had not broken through. It was still at the late stage of the 4th level, but it had reached its limit. What a pity, I'm still so close. Lu Ming sighed. It was too difficult to reach the 5th level of the 7 gods' mysterious skill. The cultivation of the immemorial cultivation system, be it the immemorial body cultivation lineage, the immemorial martial arts, the immemorial demonic path, or the immemorial fiend path, was more difficult than the nomological system. It also consumed more resources. Otherwise, the immemorial cultivation system would not have been defeated by the nomological system in the immemorial era. If he wanted to break through to the 5th level of the 7 gods' mysterious technique, he would need more resources. However, the spiritual liquid was not wasted. Although Lu Ming did not make a breakthrough, the strength of his body had increased by a level. His strength had also become stronger. The Void God Island has many heavenly treasures. I'll definitely be able to find enough resources to allow my fleshly body to break through. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He then exited the mountain and river diagram and continued to search the desert. However, for the next few days, Lu Ming did not gain anything and did not meet anyone else. On this day, Lu Ming was hurrying on his way when the desert suddenly exploded. A terrifying axe gleam slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming was shocked. He retreated rapidly and threw a punch at the same time. Boom. There was a loud noise and Lu Ming slid along the desert for a distance before he stopped. In front of him, a burly figure appeared. The evil god race. It was a member of the evil god tribe. His entire body was covered in purple scales. He was tall and held a battle axe in his hand as he looked at Lu Ming with a cold gaze. A true emperor actually dared to enter the Void God Island, and even blocked my attack. It seems that you are a peerless genius of the heaven realm. Haha, it seems that my luck is not bad. The evil god tribe member grinned, and his eyes were extremely cold. 1-star great emperor. Based on the other party's aura and the exchange of blows just now, Lu Ming could determine the other party's realm. The other party was only a 1-star great emperor, but he was a noble of the non-human race, and his battle strength couldn't be underestimated. However, Lu Ming was not afraid. He had hastily blocked the attack just now and was forced to retreat. He was far from using his full strength. One-star Void Emperor, I'll take you on, Lu Ming said coldly. What did you just say? You want to use me as an example? The evil god race member grinned. A mere heaven realm true emperor realm, Ant actually said that he wanted to take him down. What a joke. Bang. The evil god race member took a step forward, causing sand and dust to fill the sky. He charged at Lu Ming, the battle axe in his hand slashing at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body glowed with 9 colors. He circulated his physical strength and world force to the maximum, and charged at his opponent. Boom. The two of them exchanged a blow, and the force spread in all directions like water waves. The sand was swept up and spread in all directions like sea waves. Below the two of them, a deep pit that was thousands of miles wide appeared. Buzz. A figure retreated continuously. This time it was not Lu Ming but the evil god tribe. The evil god tribe's 3 eyes were wide open as they looked at Lu Ming in disbelief. He found it hard to believe that he would be forced to retreat by a true emperor. Your strength is only SSO kill. Lu Ming shouted and charged at the other party. Bang, bang, bang. The two of them turned into 2 streams of light, and continued to collide. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves. However, the evil god tribe was at a complete disadvantage. They were no match for Lu Ming. Their bodies trembled and their arms ached. Before entering the Void Island, Lu Ming had already defeated Lan Mo in his battle. At that time, Lu Ming's cultivation base was only at 6-star True Emperor. Now Lu Ming's cultivation level had reached 7-star True Emperor, and the strength of his physical body had become stronger. Although this non-human emperor was slightly stronger than Lan Mo, he was still no match for Lu Ming. He was completely suppressed by Lu Ming. Whoosh! Lu Ming's palm was like a divine sword. He thrust it out and stabbed the alien. Their bodies were covered in purple scales, and their defensive power was astonishing. However, Lu Ming's palm was covered with 9 types of laws. The laws intertwined and combined to form a divine power with even more terrifying power. Coupled with Lu Ming's physical strength, he broke through the other party's scales and left a hole in the other party's body, causing blood to flow. Damn it! The non-human emperor howled in anger as he retreated with a look of fear in his eyes. He then turned around and ran. He understood that he was no match for Lu Ming. If he forced himself to continue fighting, not only would he not be able to kill Lu Ming, but he would also be killed by Lu Ming. How could there be such a terrifying Heaven's Pride expert in the Heaven realm? He's just a true emperor, but his combat strength is stronger than mine. This is too terrifying. No, I must spread this news and let others kill this brat. Otherwise, if he grows up, it will be a disaster for our race. This non-human emperor thought to himself. However, how could Lu Ming let him escape? He spread his 6-feathered divine wings and chased after him. Although you are stronger than me, it is impossible for you to kill me. The non-human emperor roared. Lu Ming was stronger than him, but not by a ridiculous margin. As long as he wanted to escape, Lu Ming could not kill him. Is that so? The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled up slightly, and a large bow appeared in his hands. It was the fallen star bow. Lu Ming pulled the fallen star bow with all his might, and the bowstring of the fallen star bow bent. Currently, Lu Ming was still unable to fully draw the fallen star bow. He had only pulled it halfway. The 9 types of nomological laws and the power of the world were constantly pouring into the fallen star bow. The fallen star bow glowed with a brilliant light, and a 9-colored arrow was formed. Buzz! Lu Ming let go of the bow, and the bowstring vibrated violently. The 9-colored arrow flew out and burst toward the non-human emperor. The non-human emperor roared as he swung his axe down toward the 9-colored arrow. Clang! A heaven-shaking boom sounded out, and the non-human emperor's body trembled as he was forced to retreat. He almost lost his grip on his battle axe. How is that possible? The non-human emperor was shocked by the power of the fallen star bow. Buzz! Lu Ming drew the fallen star bow again, and shot another 9-colored arrow at the other party. Chapter 2342. The arrow streaked through the air, leaving a long tail in its wake. It was nine-colored and dazzled the eyes, but its speed was unbelievably fast and its power was shocking. The non-human emperor roared as a destructive light shot out from his third eye. At the same time, he slashed out with his battle axe. Clang! The nine-colored arrow landed on the battle axe of the non-human emperor for the second time. The battle axe trembled violently, and then flew out of his hand. The non-human emperor's body trembled violently as he was forced back continuously. The web between his thumb and forefinger was torn open, and blood flowed freely from it. One of his arms had completely lost all feeling. Now Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the level of a 7-star true emperor, and his 9 types of laws had all reached the 3rd level. When he pulled the bowstring, the power was many times stronger than before. Ordinary 1-star great emperors would find it hard to resist. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming drew his bow continuously and shot 2 more arrows. The non-human emperor let out an unwilling roar as he used all of his strength to block, but it was all in vain. Of the 2 arrows, one pierced through the chest of the non-human emperor, nailing him to the ground. The second arrow pierced through his forehead, killing him instantly. A great emperor was killed by Lu Ming. This was the first time he had done so without borrowing the celestial thearch's corporeal body. Lu Ming also sighed in his heart. He had unknowingly grown to the point where he could kill a great emperor. More than 10 years ago, when he was in the Yuan continent, the great emperor was so high up in his eyes that he could not climb up. At that time, Lu Ming could not compete with the great emperor at all except by relying on the celestial thearch's physical body. The great emperor could kill him with one slap with his true strength. But now things were different. Unknowingly, his strength had grown to an astonishing height. After killing the non-human emperor, the 9-colored arrow turned into energy and disappeared. Lu Ming was just about to fly over and collect the corpse of the alien emperor, when 2 beams of light flickered in the distance and flew over at high speed. It's them! Lu Ming's gaze flickered. The 2 streaks of light were actually the twin brothers. The 2 of them had obviously discovered Lu Ming from afar. Hence, they flew at a very fast speed and arrived at Lu Ming's side in an instant. The 2 of them looked at the non-human emperor with surprise. Brother Lu Ming is really amazing. You killed a great emperor with your own abilities. I'm impressed. One of them said, his eyes revealing a look of surprise. I was just lucky. Lu Ming smiled faintly and walked over to collect the body of the non-human emperor. Brother Lu, did you kill all the crows that day? The person who had spoken earlier asked again. No, I just rushed out. Lu Ming answered casually. Oh. The twin brothers looked at each other and nodded. Brother Lu Ming, it seems like we are fated. Why don't we work together next? All right. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and nodded. He was not familiar with this place. Moreover, the 2 people before him had rather high cultivation levels. Lu Ming could not use the celestial thearch body now. If he had more people with him, they would be of more help if he were to encounter any danger. You two, do you know how big this desert is? Lu Ming asked. This desert is huge. We've been wandering in this desert for the past few days. It's deathly silent, and there are no opportunities. We're just wasting our time here. As long as we keep going into the depths of the island, we'll definitely be able to leave this desert. One of the twins said. This person was the elder brother of the twin brothers. Lu Ming nodded. Indeed, there was not much to be gained in this desert. He had wandered around for many days, and had only obtained an emperor's medicine and some spiritual liquid. Immediately, the 3 of them discussed for a while before heading towards the center of the island. On the way, Lu Ming found out the 2 people's names. One of them was called Wuxia, and the other was called Wu Bo. Both of them were 2-star great emperors. Along the way, they encountered a wave of non-humans, but there were only 2 of them. One was a 2-star great emperor while the other was a 1-star great emperor. Naturally, he was besieged by Lu Ming and the other 2 and eventually killed. Later on, they encountered a group of 7 to 8 people from the foreign tribe. At first, Wuxia suggested that Lu Ming take out his puppet and kill these foreign tribes, but Lu Ming turned around and left. The puppet that Wuxia was referring to was the celestial thearch's physical body. However, the energy in the physical body had been exhausted, so there was no way he could kill the enemy. Naturally, Lu Ming turned and left. Fortunately, they were fast enough, so they didn't get surrounded by the alien races and successfully escaped. Just like that, they flew for half a month before leaving the desert area. The main thing was that the pressure in this area was too strong. Their flying speed was thousands of times slower than outside. That was why it took so long to cross the desert. After passing through the desert, they came to a crimson land. The temperature of this land was astonishingly high, and lava could be seen flowing out from the ground from time to time. An astonishingly high temperature was constantly spreading from the ground. Logically speaking, such an environment was even more deathly silent than the desert from before. There was even less vegetation, but the truth was the opposite. Vegetation could be seen here from time to time. All kinds of fiery red vegetation were rooted in the hot ground. Some of them were even rooted in the lava. That's the flowing flame wood and the firestone grass. Not long after they arrived on this land, Lu Ming discovered several kinds of emperor's medicine. They were all very valuable and were taken away by the three of them. This land of fire was simply a treasure land. The three of them began to search with blazing eyes. A few days later, each of the three of them had obtained more than 10 emperor's herbs. One day, the three of them suddenly stopped after crossing a mountain. That was because a few figures had appeared in the canyon ahead. The three of them quickly hid and watched from afar. The evil god race. The valley was filled with the evil god tribe, and there were a total of 5 of them. In the canyon, there was a pitch-black cave. The 5 members of the evil god race were pacing back and forth outside the cave, and their bodies were emitting powerful auras. 3 2-star great emperors and 2 1-star great emperors. Wu Ba's expression was grave as he muttered, "Brother Lu Ming, these 5 members of the evil god tribe have been loitering outside the cave. One reckoned that there must be some treasure in the cave. We can't miss such an opportunity. However, the other party has 3 2-star great emperors and 2 1-star great emperors. They are much stronger than us. We can't deal with them. Brother Lu Ming, why don't you take out that puppet and kill these 5 members of the evil god race? If there are really treasures, you can take the biggest share." Wuxia said. "This plan won't work. Let's just observe for a while," Lu Ming said. Wuxia and Wu Bo looked at each other again, and a bright light flashed in their eyes. The three of them waited quietly. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.